We are here live, April 21st, 10 p.m. on Speed Gaming 5 for the week 6 of the 2020 spring tournament. This is Chaos Week, the big week. Everything comes down to this. This race matters for both of these immensely. Both sitting at 2 and 3. 3 and 3 gets you into your last chance qualifier. This is it. Winner goes on with a chance to continue. Unfortunately, the loser, their tournament ends here tonight. I'm joined by Jat in the booth. My name is Ilmar Zubermuller. Jat, how are we doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. As you've laid out, we got an exciting race made even more exciting by the Chaos Flag set. We have not one, not two, not three, but 4 loose items, one of which is the canal. So expect lots of dungeon dives, lots of lucky finds, and maybe even a little bit of marsh cave.
In these flag sets, we're pretty much going to have to go everywhere. We've got Dark Moons here on our left, Aligerbrap on our right. We've got a little bit of a draft / forced by the gods, if you will. The two went in to got some dice rolls from the FFR Discord bot, and it decided to spit out Fighter Red.
Yeah.
So gonna have some decent melee, decent magic all around. I mean, of all the things that could have been semi-force drafted, this is one that's a fairly typical comp.
Yeah, for a 4 kind of force draft, we're not looking too bad here. Critical things that we'll be looking out for are whether or not fast and temper are red mage learnable, because that's one of the big risks that they're running with this party. But we've seen plenty of like 2-man fighter red mage strats go well, even fighter white mage, so it really depends on the magic here.
Yeah, the nice thing about this is any big spells that tend to get locked that you won early are usually white locked. You're white or you're fade or life or fade, something to that effect. So having a white mage guarantees, at least in those first force levels, that you're going to have something decent coming out of like it's not going to be locked from you. You're going to have the opportunity to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Gloomchew pointing out in chat, red, and a little bit less red, but these runners know red makes you go faster. And with that, we are off.
Ali gonna make his way in right here to the white. We're gonna find wall, which is good.
Yeah, so
2 or 3 serviceable.
Wall is always nice to find. I'm trying to learn that on the red mage, of course not possible quite yet. And in black magic, we have 2 passable sweepers. So Ice 2, Lit 2, that will get you through the early game. So definitely not the worst magic here. Something that will, let them get through, kill Garland, kill pirates without a major problem.
Yeah, nothing of the big boys that we want to see, but at the same time, nothing. We've seen enough seeds where you have no sweepers whatsoever. So having anything for that early game will help.
A little unfortunate
small
there.
Swords.
I was gonna say a little unfortunate there. Absolutely no early game magic. Early game armor. So, gonna have to be running around naked for a little bit, but shouldn't cause any massive problems unless they find absolutely nothing in the starting few chests that they'll open and in Provoca. Now, Dark Moon actually out a little bit faster. Aligerbrap walking over to the end a little bit faster to just exit out the right side, but that's okay. And Dark
picked up some small daggers for his fighters, so they're not just punching. Anything's better than fists.
Yeah, level 1 fighter, not going to do much. Dark Moon, meanwhile, figuring out already a little bit of the encounter table, realizing you got a decent run after 1 reset. Oh, that's some nice armor there in the bottom left chest in the Temple of Fiends, with some pro rings.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the best things. Oh, and there's our first, the half-loose canal.
Yeah, so the canal and the canoe are really what are going to open up early game routing, and in many ways, having lots of early game options can make it even harder to find those loose items early. When you're running these chaos flags, if you don't find early movement options, it can actually make it a little bit easier to figure out where you have to go. But once you have the world open up to you, if you get an early canal and early canoe, there's so many chests out there that are available to you. And meanwhile, Dark Moon wiped.
That would be Wolves with Blizzard that came out. So the early game, some of the overworld encounters and some of those encounters in Marsh, potentially Earth, that could be a little annoying.
Yeah, so these runners, they're good enough. They'll be able to encounter manip away most of those wolves on the overworld map. However, exactly what you said. If they have to dive Earth or they have to dive Marsh, they could run into some serious problems.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to see, especially early. I mean, you have obviously no ribbons, no HP, nothing good going on for it. So, any sort of big sweeper like that comes out against you usually results in a quick wipe, unfortunately.
Yeah, and neither runner taking a fight outside, so they're all level 1. There's absolutely zero chance that they're surviving a blizzard for at least another few minutes here.
Yeah, I think Ali took one on his way up. Yeah, he did.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Yeah, he definitely.
So yeah, still level 2, not gonna make a difference against blizzard here.
Nah, you're still not over that 120, 130 HP usually that you're going to be, that Blizzard most of the time unresisted is going to be hitting for, and you definitely don't have the MDef to be resisting it yet.
Interestingly enough, both runners appear to be on identical encounter tables here, or within a step or two of each other, so that's always nice. And we will have almost simultaneous Garland fights here.
We're going to swing, magic swing. Same thing on Darkmoon's side. Ice 2, the big hit. Oh, big hit on both sides. Takes Garland out at the same time, pretty much.
Yeah, there is actually a small difference in the elemental magics. Ice always does a little bit more than lightning, which does a little bit more than fire. So getting ice early is pretty good. Lightning is always nice to get through the early rivers and, all your ship sailing that you got to be doing in the early game, but always nice to find that ice magic.
In terms of progression, we got 2 items at this point in time that do absolutely nothing for us, as we got a slab and a bottle.
Oh, as I call them, a Thor hammer and an opal Cheerio, right?
Yeah. It always feels like it. You finally get your floater, you're like, all right, I'm going to get stuff, and then, yeah, you've already got everything by then. No one wants to walk to Lefane.
Yeah. ETAP calling out that we're going to have a vanilla canoe. Always could be the case here. The Sage is going to be an early check here, I'm sure. And at
life here at level 2.
Yeah, so life, a nice pickup. Life not nearly as scary and not nearly as nice to find at level 2 as when you're running like, Fighter, Thief, Red, Black. But having 2 life casters plus, 4 life casters once you get the tail, that's going to be pretty nice and help secure a Temple of Fiends that doesn't have things like, a bunch of nukes in a row and a single Fiend fight or really tough chaos.
Yeah, that's never a bad thing when you see life on level 2, because you know that anybody's going to be able to learn it. In Viz 2 as well, so once those knights promote, they can be throwing out some stacks of evasion, they can be making sure that everyone's kept up. There's a lot of good defensive magic for once those guys promote.
So meanwhile, we're going to be seeing some Vicky fights, but I think something that's interesting here, and maybe chat will have some opinions on this, is whether or not these runners are going to leave up both fighters or go down to a single fighter. There's been a lot of talk on what the fastest strats are. 4 manning tends to be very safe, but a lot of the fastest seeds have been run with less than 4. So we'll have to see if these runners decide, what the play is here. Are they going to keep up all 4? Or are they going to, get rid of that that white mage? Are they going to get rid of a fighter? And Vicky has the canoe.
Well, that opens up a lot of potential chests already, and that makes getting over to Crescent, if we want, a heck of a lot easier now. Now we don't got to sail out of the inner continent. If we want, we can just paddle our way over.
Yeah, and we had pro rings for sale in that armory shop for 20,000, so not bad. A little on the expensive side, not going to help in the early game, but it will do the trick.
Now we got 1 for free, so, save a little bit of cash.
Darkmoon choosing to skip Matoya for now. This is a play that I've been going back and forth on which way I prefer to go, whether to check it or not. It's bitten me a few times, but I think with the early canal, it's much safer versus when you are still looking for that canal and then you end up clearing all of ice and all of volcano before you check Matoya to find the canal. That can feel bad.
Hoping for that convenient routing of I'll check those chests once I get crystal.
Yeah.
Don't want to have to double dip if I don't have to. While Ali, on the other hand, is making his way up there, and we will find out what those 3 chests are.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if there's, some early game weapon there, and get away from those wolves. Okay, he gets the first turn run. Nice.
We saw Cake and Fire 2 at level 3 black. And Harm 2 that are red learnable. Harm 3 is white locked.
Heal 2, I believe.
Heal 2, yeah. Apologies.
Heal 2 is always nice, especially if you're looking at an early volcano dive. This seed is not like screaming early volcano, but those heal spells can save you a ton of time. Speaking of saving a ton of time, we have Life 2 at level 4. In a red mage learnable slot. So that is always nice to see.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That red mage. Boy, with that good quality, if you were thinking 3-man, that white mage may not be long for this world. All the really big spells that you want are red or knight promoted learnable.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, unless we're starting to see like a level 5 Fade or something like that. Something that is of note so far is that we've only had kind of one, nuke or level 3 elemental sweeper, and that is Fire 3 at level 4. So we're definitely not looking too great for clearing out large mobs easily in this early game. Fire 3, notable for just not being very effective on the river systems or in the volcano. So if you're trying to clear out some of those kind of inner sea dungeons, going to cause a little bit of problems.
Darkmoon gets hit by the Blizzard Wolves and hadn't saved since Provoca because he burned all his cash and didn't have enough to stay at the inn.
Oh no, so that's going to set him back a few minutes for sure, but ultimately, what I would be more worried about for me is how's his head feel after that? Because those are the types of things that just can like start that little tilt flag in your head as you're starting a runoff.
Yeah, that irks you, especially, it might not irk him exactly at this point, but if something unfortunate like that happens one more time, that's when the little bit of the ticks can start coming in.
Yeah. Interestingly, he's using this opportunity to check Matoya. So he will get those chests out of the way early.
There was some good money in here, and I think that's what he's looking for, because he was unfortunately very, very broke and wasn't able to buy everything that he wanted, so that'll remedy the situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, always nice to find some early money, and Matoya paying off that is another consideration, when you're doing that double dip versus single dip, but you have no money to go check out Elfland, that can really hurt. So, getting 30k in the bank or 40k in the bank before you go to Elfland can actually make that a one trip to Elfland instead.
Yeah, that's the whole risk reward on what are you going to gamble on, what are you not. And I mean, this is Monte Chaos Casino, so everything's a coin flip, right?
ETAP pointing out our Twitch math. There is no such thing as Twitch math. All Twitch math is simultaneously correct and incorrect.
It was a number. It was more than he had when he came here the first time.
Yeah. And Aligerbrap remedying his armor situation. So getting that early chain, early iron, and that actually makes a really big difference. Something that improved my early game safety significantly was when I started to buy just that early game armor, because turns out the difference between 0 and even 12 or 16 absorb is huge.
Yeah, and iron armor right off the start is very good. That's serviceable right up to the mid-game vanilla sort of volcano, anything there, volcano to ice. You'll be okay with iron armor. It's the mobs and such after that it might become a little bit more of an issue.
Yeah, I believe iron has 24 absorb.
So very, very serviceable through up to the mid part of the game.
So Darkmoon, stocking up on some heal pots, had a little bit of extra cash, and this makes me think that he may be considering a volcano play here. But we will have to see. Aligerbrap, meanwhile, heading out, either to check out the dwarves or to head out of the inner sea.
Well, looks like he's going to drop a cabin here and beat the bridge boss and see what those two chests have waiting for him.
Once again, that single dip versus double dip, or triple dip, or quadruple dip mentality comes into play here, as there being 3 different items that can help you clear up the dwarves, plus 2 free chests that you have always accessible.
Dragon armor, nice. Nothing that, yeah, that's not surprising that he leaves it. He'll keep that in the back of his mind, though.
Meanwhile, we have Exit in Melmond in a white mage only slot. So, you know, providing some motivation to keep that white mage up. And we had Temper in a red wizard only slot.
But we did have Warp in a red learnable slot, so once again, you know, the pendulum swings a little bit back towards that white mage not being as important.
Yeah. Once you have 3 or 4 charges of Warp, it essentially behaves like an Exit. Ooh, ouch. Those are some fairly expensive gold bracelets at 40k, so not going to be having super cheap late game armor, but still an option, and Melman's not the most inconvenient place to have it.
You'll be flying over it a few times on your way back to Earth at some point. I mean, nobody likes doing Earth early. They try to leave that for as late as possible. It's just a slower dungeon, not the best chest density.
Yeah, and of note as well, there was Cure 4 at level 5, so lots of competing options for your charges at level 5 once these runners start getting a few more levels and potentially some promotion.
Yeah, that becomes very interesting, because if you're going to be saving charges for Warp, then you're losing charges of Cure 4, so that White Mage may have some value in that, but if you're going to think 3-man strats, I think they make the most sense, because right now, even with level 5 magic that we saw, we still didn't see the big boy sweepers.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we had some in-sync action going on. I think of note right now is one spell that we haven't seen, which is Fast. There's only 2 more spots that are available for the Red Wizard to be able to learn it, so we could be looking at a seed where Fast is not available, which would be very unfortunate.
So
at level
Fade,
6,
they're
we
at
have
level
Fade.
6.
Yep. And we have a Crown, so this is a Sailing Seed. Around and around we will go.
I'm sure Darkmoon's going to follow this, figure out what the kindly old king has for us before he starts thinking about diving dungeons at this point.
Meanwhile, Aligerbrap either wiped or did a reset by accident, as he has to sail all the ways back.
Yeah, I missed what had happened there. I was looking at Crown pickup, and then I looked back, and all of a sudden, he's back at Melmond.
Yeah, so it looks like he probably... I don't think he was using that encounter manip, and took a wipe to lit 3 trolls. So yeah, so that... It seems like this encounter table is fairly friendly, at least, in that you only have to burn 1 encounter. So, fairly quick, and then there's a decent-sized hero run. So you can get away from a lot of the overworld encounters, but the overworld is dangerous. We have lit 3 trolls, we have blizzard wolves. So navigating the overworld is not something to take easy right now.
No, there's everything we've seen, and then unfortunately that's in a few different spots too. Like, you know, over we've got the wolves that are inhabiting the other part of the southern continent. On this eastern part of the southern continent, we've got trolls, which end up being fairly common. They're not very happy to deal with either, so nowhere that's been overly safe that we can go to on the overworld yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So after Darkmoon hands in this crown, he's going to have a few options available to him. He has... And the crown turns into the loot, so once again, kind of another nothing item. Doesn't open up any dungeons, doesn't open up more transportation items. You have the slab, you have the bottle, and you have the loot. So just a bunch of dummy items.
The one plus is the fact that finding loot means it's not out there, and loot and key are the 2 items, but loot in particular, if it's loose, can be in quite literally any chest in the game. You know, at least other things, you know, if you're looking for loose chime, you can't be going to Sky. If you're looking for loose oxyale, you can't be going to sea, you know, those sorts of things where loot can be anywhere. So at least having that out is a little bit better than having that be one of the loose.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's definitely true. Some of the trolliest seeds are when you have that loose loot.
Yeah,
so
loose loot and loose key can be annoying.
Yeah, Darkmoon. Routing options now are he's probably going to be able to take a look at... I think he's going to go check the trap tiles, but he's not going to be able to do so without the key. And yeah, there we go.
That's a fancy looking door.
So Darkmoon has a couple options here. He can go and do, some cheeky Earth or channeling his inner Caleb, do some cheeky Earth or cheeky Marsh plays, but the most common routes now would be to go do either Waterfall or Ordeals. Or
looks like he might be doing the Volcano Ice side.
Yeah, and that's actually, that would be the third option as well. Volcano being full clearable at this point, although carry is extremely scary. Ice, also full clearable, but Ice also very scary. Pretty much everything is scary when you're level 6.
Yeah, Ice becomes annoying because there's just so many different enemies that almost inevitably one of them ends up rolling something nasty of a script.
Yeah, so we have there was some conversation about how to pronounce these, but we'll just call them fish. We have some fish with, I think it was Sleep Touch.
That is Sleepy Fish.
Meanwhile, Aligerbrap just cleaning up Astos. The only real difference in the runners right now is that Aligerbrap just had that extra wipe on the nice calm sail over to Crescent Lake. So, this is still just kind of equal checks, no real gambles on either runner side. And that is not what you want to see. We have unrunnable trolls on the spike tile there. And of course, those trolls have lit 3.
Yeah, that's a trap tile you're going to want to avoid. But unfortunately, that guards a couple of chests. Like, particularly that hairpin chest is guarded up there by it. So, that's annoying.
Yeah, the leftmost hairpin, like the hairpin on the left, you can actually avoid the spike tile by doing, I think, exactly what Darkmoon's about to do. But the one that is below him right now is completely unavoidable if you want to check that chest.
Yeah, you can do the pick the one up from the top and then walk back around for these two here to avoid it. But yeah, the one in particular I was talking about was the one that was directly south of him that we see just to the right of his screen. That's a troll fight that needs to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then you're just going to be crossing your fingers and hoping for turn order. The other issue with this right now is I don't believe he definitely does not have enough levels for any warp charges or anything like that. So he's going to have to be walking out of here, which is always a little scarier than you want to be when you're in the volcano.
Once you can get to the fire tiles, it's a little better. You don't take any encounters, obviously, when you're taking damage, but still, those are some weak R Hydras.
Oh man,
keep that in mind.
Bridge of Destiny R Hydras are my favorite. Just get tons of EXP for things that hit like nothing, have very low HP, even when they roll a little bit, and these ones did not roll at all.
That was a total of 106 between the two swings, so it's less than that.
So in the armory so far, we found a money shield and some more money. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap making the Ordeals play, which also, as I said, is probably another option out there. Once again, not having Warp yet is going to really suck, but... Ooh, on the other hand, this is a nice trap tile, except they hit... I think they just crit, so Gurmedusa is notorious for having low health and being worth tons of experience, as in the vanilla game, the reason they are scary is because of their various status touches and their casting ability. But in this, with all of our touches and skills rolled all over the place, they basically just hit a ton of times for 1 damage. They do their best Vorpal impression.
Yeah, unfortunately, even when you're a completely unarmored white mage, sometimes those still hurt.
Now, an interesting opportunity, I guess you could say, that comes out of this is, do you wake that white mage back up, or is, that white mage just going to eat the dirt for a while?
Yeah, that's it. It kind of really... Well, he looked at his charge. He thought about it.
Oh, so that's a nice pickup there. We have a flame shield, which is going to be the best shield that he can get before he promotes. Alongside the ice shield.
Got a Bane Sword there as well.
Yeah. The Bane Sword, always nice for emergency fiend fights. And we find Excal, so at least one of these knights, if we find that floater and the tail, will be well equipped. Not the greatest sword for the fiendry fights or for chaos. However, against any other enemy in the game, essentially, the Excal hits hard.
Yeah, it really loses its muster against Tia 2 and Chaos when there's no real vulnerabilities to exploit for it, which is the Excal's thing. If anything has a weakness to anything, then it exploits that weakness. But
Yeah,
so it does really serviceable.
For those of you who played the vanilla game many years ago and threw out that worthless piece of trash that was the Were Sword, those now work. So the Were Sword will be strong against Were type enemies. The Dragon Sword will be good against Dragon type enemies, etc. And the Excal, as you were mentioning, is good against all types.
He just unequipped his top fighter's armor. Is he thinking 2-man at this point?
Yeah, I think the 2-man strats make a lot of sense here. That Red Mage has pretty much everything you want. Your fighter's going to be able to learn life. So a 2-man strat here, I think, is a pretty valid play.
He's going to go back to that Gurmadusa tile.
Yeah, and this is just a juicy trap tile here. Oh, they rolled up, or just slightly. I'm not sure if it's a roll up from the vanilla game, because I'm not exactly sure what their vanilla HP is, but sometimes I've gotten them down for under 100, so they're just a touch higher than they can be, but still, these are just such good experience.
Here we got Aligerbrap on his side, clearing out. He made his way through the shuffled pillar maze, clearing out the last chests here, finding sorcerers, which in vanilla are awfully scary with their death touch, but hopefully they don't have that.
Yeah, in the vanilla game, all they had to do was hit you, so they never got any damage. In this case, they hit you and they touch you for a point or two of damage, and then like, wait, you're still alive, something's wrong. So sorcerers also being fantastic, kind of free EXP.
So if you're Darkmoon, how far are you looking to take this? Obviously you're doing it for a bit just to burn, probably till you burn charges and that, but how many times are you coming back and forth?
I think fairly conservative estimate would be getting up to level 18 or so for the 2-man, but honestly, this type of grind tile is so good that you could take it all the ways up to kind of your mid-late game levels and just ride it from there. So if you take, these characters up to level 20 to, your early 20s, then you're basically just going to need to take whatever fights you can get along the way and just go. Our tracker, who's doing a fantastic job so far, Ailmark, pointing out in chat, he only has one more house. So that will probably be the limiting factor. It's likely, though, he'll take this as far as he wants to. Now, this, I think, was not what he meant to do.
On Aligerbrap's side, he got all the way through, got to this incredibly hard trap tile, pulled the rod from the chest, and can't get away from all the Water's Nagas, and unfortunately takes a wipe.
So that rod is not exactly what I would want to be seeing at this point. As you mentioned, when you have a loose chime or something like that, knowing that you cannot go into Mirage or things like that is good knowledge to have. The rod is like the worst item to unlock. Anything that makes it so that, incentivizes you to dive deeper into Earth is not what you want to see. At the same time, it is a key item. It's going to unlock the endgame. So, it is something that you need in order to win. So it can't be the worst thing.
You obviously memorized the how to get through. Whoa, Toxic Mock.
Oh no, and you hate to see this after all that time that you spent grinding. It looks like they don't have a super high skill percentage, so he got away, but now he's just got to cross his fingers. And once again, this is the danger of grinding without warp.
Oh boy, both runners are hoping that once they're able to finish this out, that they're going to be able to walk their way out. Oh no, stun locked.
And so stun removes your ability to dodge, so this is not looking good for him. Oh, and with that he loses that grind and all that time, so that is just a frustrating wipe right there. Especially considering when you took the trolls, that was a mistake that was avoidable, as that trap tile can be dodged by going one space to the left. However, that was just, that's just a random encounter that he hadn't seen before and just wiped him.
Well, he's going to go back and try it again here, re-get the levels, go through it. Meanwhile, Ali's gonna finish up grabbing these last chests and then grab his rod for a second time and hope he can get through that water Naga fight.
Yeah, against that water Naga fight, all you're hoping for is just a run. Just one of your 4 characters up needs to get a run, and to be honest, that is not an unreasonable expectation, so... This is not like, a brick wall of an unrunnable tile that they don't have the resources to get past. They just need to get a run off.
So, after this, I suspect if you're Darkmoon, you'll have the levels at that point. You're probably looking to finish out this dungeon after this. Probably go back to Crescent, restock up, re-heal up, get a few items and such, but then come back and finish this out.
Yeah, for sure. I think finishing Volcano, and then potentially tying that into an Ice Cave dive, works out nicely when you have these early levels. Ice Cave can be a little bit of a risky play in some of the different seeds, because all those items, there's a number of chests, but it's a slow dungeon, especially without warp. However, with 3 loose and none found so far, those chests are pretty juicy.
Yeah, we're way too early to be.
1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, 15 chests. So that is not a bad play to make.
Yeah, and we're so early in that orphaning chests at this point in time. It's just not something that you can be thinking of yet.
Yeah, I think it is a valid play as well to leave ice for later, but the proximity check is tempting.
Oh, Ali gets some luck, able to run away from the fight. He's going to make his way out of here.
Yeah. So taking up to level 15 there, and now he's trying to run out of here. Oh no, he sees the Mux again. Man, he's on almost an identical encounter table, it looks like. Now I like this adaptation, moving the Bane Sword onto the Living Fighter. Oh, holds his breath. Toxic comes out once, takes out the Red Mage. This fighter is in fight for his life mode. Toxic comes out ineffective. Bane goes out. Bane not going to do great against these fairly high magic defense items or enemies. And he wipes again.
He got stun touched again. That's a couple things that have stun touch there then.
Yeah. Aligerbrap checking out the Oasis, doing the nice save play so he doesn't have to walk all the ways back. The Space Drake pointing out in chat, yeah, Bane Sword not the play there. His best chance was probably either to try and burn them down with magic or just run, but that's pretty rough. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap gonna keep on going.
Ali found the cube here in on-rack for 32k, so we found our vendor item.
And not terribly expensive. 32k, definitely something you can afford. Meanwhile, he's just going to check out the inn here, the luxury but far away inn that almost no one ever goes to because of how annoying it is to walk to. And then we are going to get a visit with our robot friend, the other robot friend.
Not the big warp robot friend that everybody wants to see.
That we're entering a waterfall, so I haven't checked his levels, but based off what I've been seeing, I do not believe he will have a warp charge yet, so I think he may have to walk out of this waterfall, which is
yeah, I think he's only painful. 9 or 10.
Yeah, so this is not a free waterfall play by any stretch.
Paralisks are nice. They're a good little bit of XP for usually nothing terrible about them.
And let's see if the mummies have anything. The mummies being another enemy that shows up all over the place. So if they have something scary, you are always a little bit worried. That being said, he already has gone through ordeals, which is one of the places they show up, so...
I know he fought them in ordeals the first time he wiped, and I don't recall seeing anything bad come out of them.
Okay.
And there's level 10 for him.
Yeah, so still a few levels away for that warp charge. Red mages, of course, get magic levels slower than their dedicated caster counterparts. So I think it's around 15 or so where he'll get the first charge.
Yeah, I believe 15.
And on the Spike Tile and Waterfall, we have Nightmare Evilmen. And Evilmen have Cremate, which is not a skill that you're afraid of too much in the late game, but in the early game can really take you out. So not ideal when you're going to have to go through there again, but he gets through the first time. Now, something that maybe is often confusing for newer runners is that the waterfall is not listed as an incentive location, and that is because the robot is actually an NPC. So when you turn on the NPC, that is why the waterfall is an incentive location, not because the robot is there, not actually because it's an incentive dungeon.
And we get our first, arguably WOMP item in the Power Bomb. Good to have, but yet again, no more progression.
Yeah, and Temper being level 5, the Power Bonk is nice, but not absolutely essential at this point. Okay, Dark Moon, cross your fingers, hits the exact same Muck Pack, and they get an ambush on him. He survives the first round of Toxic, survives the second Toxic. Will he get a run? He gets a run there. Okay, Dark Moon finally gets a break, holding his breath now. Only a few more steps until he's on the lava.
He's power cycled through this. Oh, here we go. So yeah, he keeps power cycling through this, so he's going to get that exact same encounter table every time.
Holy smokes, that Bane Sword.
Bane saves him, because we saw that was the pack that got him the next time when it got that stun touch on him, and it was all over.
And Dark Moon gets to save and starts his trek back to Crescent Lake to revive that red mage, and then we will see where he goes next. He has Ice Cave available to him. He has going deeper into the volcano to check out the Agama floor, or even go all the ways down to Carry.
Sleepy fish making for an annoyance.
Yeah, and he has a pretty good grasp of the encounter table, so taking this, either he just miscounted his steps slightly, or just, trying to run back a little bit just as fast as he can. Sometimes as fast as you can is slower than going a little bit slower, though.
But he makes it, so sure breathing a sigh of relief having to have redone that dive a few times. Being able to get out, finally secure everything.
So it looks like he will be going with the one fire strats, bringing back up the white mage though, so not fully committing to a hard 2-man. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap's kind of kept up 4 so far, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be making one banning a party member anytime soon. It's honestly quite a bit too late. It's a few dungeons too late for him to decide to do that.
Yeah, I think he wants to get those extra charges when he saw that level, I believe it was level 4 that you're sharing, Warp, Life 2, I think it's Cure 4 as well. No, that was 5 with Warp and Cure 4. I can't remember.
So, it's all good. It was Life 2 at level 4, Cure 4 at level 5, Warp at level 5. Meanwhile, yeah. Darkmoon finally getting his Warp charge that I'm pretty sure is what has been keeping him in that volcano grinding, so he can finally go and check out Waterfall and Ordeals. But taking the long way around.
At level 5 you had Temper, Warp, Heal 3, Exit, and Cure 4. That's a lot to be spreading around on just that red mage, because you're going to want to saving. Splitting up Temper and Cure 4 is really annoying, because you're going to want to have, obviously that Temper available to help boost up some damage, but also having extra Cure 4, so that white mage has some value having Cure 4. And that being Exit, where they're going to get it a lot faster as well.
Yes, absolutely. So Darkmoon looks like he's also going to be going to Waterfall. Interestingly, he did not check the... okay, he's going to check this shop first. That makes sense. So he will find his cube, so that means no trip to the Oasis needed for him. Stocks up on some save items. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap now at a bit of a crossroads. He has the Volcano check and the Ice Cave check, and Earth and Marsh as his remaining options.
Yeah, we are a lot of items out still at this point in time. I mean, even fetch quest wise, we haven't got any fetch quest items outside of bottle and slab, which are utterly useless to us at this point in time.
Yeah, so unless we find something, an incentive item, or when we find the incentive item in ice, and if that is not something like the floater or even like an oxale or a chime, we are going to have to start loose hunting in less than ideal early game locations. Earth is not somewhere you'd necessarily want to go. Going deeper into the volcano can be dangerous, and especially one of the most dangerous things if you're trying to take levels there and then you take a wipe to carry, which she is known to do. It can be a very expensive redive.
Yeah, I bet both would be hoping for a ruby, to be honest. You get 2 items out of that, which wouldn't be too bad. Looks like Aligerbrap, you're back in Melmond. I suspect that Rod, he's going to be making the full Earth play here.
Yeah, Earth, at least the top floor, is quite quick to check. With the run that they have off of the power cycle +1 encounter burn, he should be able to check most of the chests, getting no encounters, so Earth 1 a fairly quick check for with almost no investment, which is kind of nice. If he decides to go deeper though, Earth 2, Earth 3, and Earth 4 all have some very, very, very out of the way slow checks that you would much prefer to skip if you can go mode Earth. And with that, Aligerbrap heads to Earth, so choosing to forgo the volcano and the armory floor before he heads over to the incentivized dungeon. In the first chest we have a wooden stick. And checking the trap tile as well, nothing good there. He'll be happy to find the Medusa tile in Volcano, and hopefully at that point he'll have a charge of warp so he can get out a lot safer. Meanwhile, Darkmoon finding his power bonk and going to have to decide what to do next, which I assume will be an Ordeals play as well.
He'll have one better. By that time, he'll definitely have exit charges, and he's got that white mage still alive, so he'll be able to just jump out whenever he feels like it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Warp a little bit more valuable in Ice Cave and Ordeals, and exit basically more useful everywhere else. Warp also can be used for things like the Mirage Tower, the Sky Cave, the Sky Palace, the Floating Castle, there we go. And to skip a few encounter steps on those kind of spread out floors.
Yeah, if you've got Warp, Sky 3 is a really good place to use it, where you can go all the way to the right, clear out that bank of 6, use Warp, come back, and clear out the top, Warp, and then go to the 4 on the left. You can save a lot of steps.
So Aligerbrap going deeper into Earth. So check the first floor, found nothing. I don't believe he did a Hall of Giants check, but he did get... Are they linked to the... Are they the same trap tiles as the ones that are in the room that he checked? I believe at least one of them are.
One of them is, I know the bottom room here is the Earth Trap tile. There is the normal giant trap tile is... Chat will help us in a second.
Okay, and our tracker helping us out again, giving us that backseat commentary saying that Hall of Giants is indeed 2 different tiles, even from what are in those chest traps. So definitely something that could be worth checking out if you are Aligerbrap and you wanted a few levels before diving deeper, because right now he does not have a ton of spell charges, and this is going to make this Earth dive a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, even at these levels, Lich isn't exactly a pushover yet either. We don't have any, we don't have a big sword to be swinging at this point in time. Harm 3 and Fire 3 are our best options to do any damage to him at this point.
Yeah, Lich 1, of course, does have a fire weakness, which is removed in their refight, so fire will do a pretty good job. Also, having a fairly measly 400 base HP should be able to be burned down through the magic that they have available, but still a risk. Finding a silver bracelet, so a nice upgrade for their mage. Aligerbrap continues to dive down into Earth, while Darkmoon getting through Ordeals, I believe. I think he's on the trap tile before the chest banks.
There was something that one of the wolves had glare that took out Aligerbrap's top fighter. I'm not sure if it was the werewolves or the Gerwolves.
Yeah, so wolves, not nice. And Gur ogres have trance. That's never nice to see. Especially without levels to resist, to bump up that magic defense. This earth dive is going to be painful. Not only is it dangerous, but also slow. Trance
Quite
and
literally.
So they want to just slow you down as much as they can.
Thankfully able to get away. See, this is where, on Darkmoon's side, we're finding packs of mummies and stuff, and that red mage has a few charges of fire, 3, and that's going to be able to clear some things out real quick for him.
Yeah, unfortunately though, this earth dive is going to be a resource management nightmare. They don't have any caster items yet, which is something that can help a lot in the early game, and they have limited charges. This white mage contributes no sweepers, so they just have that red mage. So any large packs are just going to continue to drain their resources.
Yeah, we didn't see anything White Mage can do for Fade until level 6, and you're not going to have any charges of that for a while, and you're going to have very limited charges of it as well.
So Grendy joining us in chat saying, it looks like it's been a fun seed. So for those of you who are just tuning in, I am Jat, and I'm joined in the booth here by Ilmars. Tracking today, we have A.L. Markin, who's been helping us out in chat a bunch. We have a race between 2 and 3 runners, week 6 of Swiss. This is Chaos Week, so we have 3 loose plus the loose canal. No incentive dungeon, so lots of chaos, lots of gambling. As you see by this early dive deep into Earth, we found a fairly early canal and canoe, but not much else, and their options are limited. The rod is really the only thing that's pointing them in any dungeon direction, but so far we have not found a single loose item. Waterfall's been checked, Ordeal's been checked, but Ice Cave's still untouched, so that incentive could still be a vanilla floater.
Yeah, we've also seen all of Volcano 2 minus the one hairpin chest that's guarded by the trap tile, because that trap tile is guarded by Lit 3 unrunnable trolls.
The vampire, meanwhile, hiding something maybe almost certainly more valuable than a ruby, has a massa. So even if this earth play, fails, if the loose item that you need is somewhere else, Darkmoon will not be getting that massa till most likely his last incentive dungeon. So that massa there is very nice. Yeah,
that's a big pickup, and that also makes the Lich fight a lot more doable as well. So now you're not as worried about resource management for how am I going to take out Lich, because Massa can do it for you.
Yeah, and this does mean that keeping 2 fighters up is going to be fairly nice, as we have a not quite free, but in 2 fairly accessible chests, an Excal and a Massamoon.
Yeah, we found Excal and Armory and Massa right there, right behind the Vampire, so definitely the 2 best swords that you're going to want to be swinging. Okay, yeah, I know people Vorpal, yeah.
And Darkmoon wipes in Ordeals. So this has just been a super frustrating run for Darkmoon.
Yeah, that's that horrible water Naga tile that got Aligerbrap a couple of times as well. Oh, loose item found here. We have a loose chime.
Oh, and that is another huge pickup. So this earth play definitely paying off. Aligerbrap doing what, is considered reading the seed, figuring out what signals it's sending you. Given that rod, the rod did not, cue that Massa, as it was not rod locked. However, that loose chime was. So Aligerbrap making the play, saying, you know what, I have this rod, I think the seed is telling me to go early earth, and getting paid off with that chime. And that chime and cube combination could very easily lead to another loose.
Yeah, that opens up a lot of chests and also a lot of potential levels as well. So, when you're going to be full clearing both Mirage and Sky, if you do that right, you can pick up a lot of levels that'll really help push towards your end game.
Yeah, and if we have any members of Team Sky here in chat, you know, in Final Fantasy Randomizer group dedicated to preserving Go to Sky when you can go to Sky. Go to Sky as soon as you can go to Sky. Get your skies out in chat. So Aligerbrap going to finish clearing out Earth. At this point, you've done so much else, you don't want to orphan a few chests, and Darkmoon about to take a second attempt here at this trap tile.
First gonna grab his rod, heal
Long
up.
Road Gaming asking, are the number of Death Touchers in any given seed equal to the number of Death Touchers in the base game? And yes, that is correct. So the number of everything is equivalent to the number of that in the base game. So the skills, the spells, even the scripts are tied into the base game. So it is just a true shuffle. There is no additional randomization beyond how they are reorganized. Darkmoon crossing his fingers to get away from this, but just struggling against this horrible, horrible Naga water tile.
Yeah, waters always tend to hit really hard, and rock and iron armor, it's good, but it's not great for those later game enemies.
Yeah, and this is where the lack of a strong level 3 sweeper outside of Fire 3 is really hurting, because this is where you want to be firing Lit 3s and nukes. Even Ice 3 would be more effective than, well, Fire 3 obviously not going to be doing much against these Nagas. It looks like he's going to make it. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap about to take on Lich, doing his final preparation. That Massa really making a difference here and giving him a true win condition. Fight! Casts Harm 3 and Harm 3. So yeah, just pure offense against Lich 1, and that Massa doing some serious work. 4 hits. Fire 3, Harm 3 going out. 224, and with that, Lich is down, and Aligerbrap about to light our first orb at the almost 50-minute mark. But yeah, the big story of Earth, a loose chime, which was rod-locked.
And of course, a Massa, which never hurts to pick up.
Absolutely. Having strong late-game swords really cleans up your ability to skip chests in later. Like ribbons, a late game sword. You sometimes are searching for those types of things in a late game, and that can really cost you some time. Looks like
coming back.
Yeah, he skipped these chests on his first go round. So.
Oh yeah, the bottom left ones here. That's a good play, because they're a little bit more out of the way, and that way, if they are nothing, you can just reset out. Who cares?
Darkmoon looks like he's going to be making the same play. So both
that's good.
Choosing to ignore Ice Cave, which, is a very respectable decision at this point in time. And Darkmoon hopefully going to be checking deeper than just Earth 1 and find that loose chime as well as his Massa. Besides, the Opal armor is worth keeping, so he's going to exit out of here. So Aligerbrap perhaps going to continue following where the seed is leading him. This is almost a guided tour of the game. Giving you the rod, then basically saying, here, have a chime and a cube. I would anticipate a sky play coming up very shortly.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. He's totally been listening to everything that what's been given to him. And I mean, also just percentage-wise, the numbers say the most chests available to you at this point in time are available to you in Mirage and Sky. So if you're going for chest density and for what the seed said, it's a smart play.
Yeah, neither runner so far having checked Ice, Marsh, or deeper than the Volcano Armory. So we do still have a number of chests available that aren't in Sky, but I think all those chests combined are less than the number of chests that are in Sky by itself. Well, Sky and Mirage combined. So, but once again, commentators, we say it and they do not want, they do this just to make sure, to keep us on our toes. Looks like Aligerbrap is going to be making either a Volcano or an Ice Cave play.
Of course, because, why are we here? But we say things, they do the opposite, whatever.
Well, we say other things and then we curse them. So that's also part of the reason we're here. So that way, whenever things look like they're going well, we can say something like, "Oh, this should be an easy fight," and then, you know, Lich
Death
doesn't
touch, nuke,
die.
nuke.
Yeah, exactly. Stocking up on heal potions. Now, this could mean a nice play, but most of the time when I think Volcano, I think heal potions. So whenever I see a runner stocking up on heal potions to like a large number, I expect a Volcano play. Also picking up that Fade, which is really nice. It still doesn't have the levels to cast it, but will shortly. I think it's around 16 or so when you get your first level 6 charge for a White Mage. Although chat will definitely correct me here.
Yeah, you just throw numbers out. The smart people figure it out.
Oh,
They let us.
They do our Twitch maths for us. You know, +1, -1, those types of things. Much too
That's
difficult
hard.
for me or commentators to figure out.
I have to think of words to say. Now you want me to deal with numbers? Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Burt Reynolds pointing out his general disdain of white mages. But you know what? This white mage is going to be throwing out more damage AoE than this red mage right now. The red mage having nothing more than Fire 3, the most pitiful of Elemental's level 3 spells.
Yeah, which means all our big boy spells, Ice 3, Lit 3, and Nuke, are all 7-8.
White mage facts, they are buoyant. Hopefully we see an Agama at some point and we get some Agama facts in chat. Agama, my favorite Agama fact, they are the original unit of experience. You know, you can tell if something's OP by saying it is 1.5 Agamas. Now, has Aligerbrap checked that? I don't think he checked the trap tile yet, so he doesn't know what's waiting for him. Though he does have a fair number of more levels, so they may be a little bit less scary. Not the Medusas, no. The other trap tile.
No, he did not check the... He took it from the bottom and did not look at the trolls to find out they were there. He is, however, going to figure out that these Medusas are here, it looks like, and wouldn't surprise me if he spends a little time beefing himself up here.
Uninformed pleb asking how many Agamas is a war mech. I believe mech is 6 Agamas, because I think... is it 6? War mech is 24,000. And Agama, I thought was 4,000, but I may be wrong.
And having that mage stick is going to make this grind super quick and super easy.
Yeah, much better equipped for this grind, and a lot safer coming out with Exit and Warp. It always terrifies me just a little bit, too. Ooh, but Aligerbrap, not about that grind life. Either feels like he has the levels he needs, or not recognizing the Medusas being worth tons of EXP.
Oh, he also gets the great turn order and runs away before he finds out about Toxic Mux. Now he's going to learn about the trolls.
So he has seen the Lit 3 trolls, he just doesn't know that they were on the trap tile unrunnable until now.
Well, his white mage learned the hard way, unfortunately.
And are we going to see... Oh, we got away! And that chest a dragon sword. So are we going to see... he just resets out, not having any of it. And he's diving back in on the same power cycle. So he is going to see almost certainly those mucks again.
Yeah, that's I wonder if he's going to get that same sort of luck though. I think once he finds out what these mucks have, he might be regretting power cycling into them again.
Yeah. I think, you know, it's so tempting to just take that long run, but when you're seeing dangerous non-trap tiles, sometimes you can change it up a little bit and get away from something like this, because that is fun.
Yeah, now that he knows that that's what they have, he's. I wouldn't surprise me if next time, if he was to do this, he doesn't power cycle to not have to deal with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, Darkmoon getting shown the business by some wolves, or those werewolves and Gerwolf pack. Man, Darkmoon just having a rough time of things. I wouldn't even say that there's been making a ton of difficult. Like, he's been taking some risks, but every single time he's been making a risk, he's just been getting punished and punished. And even when he's not taking giant risks, he's just getting punished by the seed. There are some mean scripts in this early game, and when you're diving deep into dungeons and spending some time, it's super dangerous.
Yeah, and especially when you're dealing with multiple enemies that come in big packs that we've been seeing. Like mucks come in big packs with toxic. The gerwolves come in big packs with glare, and seems to be going through everything. So it's one thing when you're fighting against something like, a single enemy, like a nightmare or a dragon or something, but you only got to deal with that once. You're dealing with 4 trolls firing lit 3 and 6 werewolves or something. It's much worse.
Yeah, there's a reason those breath weapons were all originally on dragons. You don't really run into them in big packs until, like, Tower of Fiends Revisited.
Yeah.
Those werewolves, just getting them with the glare again. 2 goes down, but luckily not their life casters this time, so able to carry on. Now, one advantage that Aligerbrap did have going into this fight was that he had 4 party members up, and that does make running away just a little bit easier and just a little bit safer. Every time that, glare goes off, it can hit one of those that up fighter instead of hitting your life cast. So a small disadvantage here for that early game, especially early game without ribbons, makes running those 2-man strats more dangerous. And if you're not going to grind up to, the mid-20s to get that extra magic defense, you can really be, stone touch, death touch, glare, all these things can really, really hurt.
Yeah. Finally, Ali going to be making his way through this some more.
Uninformed pleb becoming informed, doing Twitch math, but he's in chat, so he's always right.
Doesn't count when you can use a calculator behind the scenes.
And Aligerbrap, okay, going back in. Man, these early dives have just not worked out well, with the one exception of Aligerbrap's dive into Earth, which went, like, exceptionally well. Everything else has just been punishing.
Darkmoon, unfortunately, takes yet another wipe to the wolves. And he's getting out, which is unfortunate, because we do know there is an important loose sitting in there, as well as that Massa.
It looks... Oh, and he's leaving. So that's going to be tough. Now, he doesn't have great options available. I'm curious to see if he's going to go back to that Medusa grind. Now that he has Warp and Exit, that Medusa grind is extremely safe, I would say, for a grind tile. You could even, solo grind that with a Mage Stick. But looks like he's going to be making that Ice play. But unfortunately, yes, we've seen a bunch of scary scripts, but there's a bunch more scary scripts out there. And Ice Cave likely to contain a bunch of them. So, going from one hard dive to another hard dive to another hard dive, making things very difficult.
I'm also surprised that Ali has power cycled every time he's been coming back into.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely something that we want to bring up to the runners in the post game. Is, getting that nice long run, a big win, but right now they're doing it at the expense of running into toxic mucks every single time with low-level party members and no ribbons.
Yeah, it's nice to get the steps, but unfortunately it doesn't count for anything if everybody dies.
So mages, another juicy EXP target normally. Basically anything that was primarily a caster or a touch type enemy, like an enemy that used touch attacks as their primary damage source, becomes just nice juicy EXP in this game. On the other hand, you get terrible EXP like wolves with Blizzard, so, you win some.
Yeah, of course.
Aligerbrap finding the black shirt, so of course no one's going to be able to equip that this seed, but with the kind of limited charges they have for sweeper magic, that black shirt is super nice, casting Ice 2. Honestly, that's about as good of a sweeper as they have right now, as Ice 2 does almost comparable damage to Fire 3.
Well, especially in this dungeon.
Wait, 2 more things got wiped. What do bulls have? Oh, bulls have Death Touch. Oh,
Of
man.
course.
So, at this point, if you're a runner, are you feeling horribly behind, or are you thinking that you're run into just as much horrible stuff as you have?
I mean, you have to think that at some point RNG went, especially like Ali sits there and says, okay, look at the time I had in Earth. If Darkmoon got that and hasn't run into the same sort of thing here, wherever else he's gone, you know, he could be miles ahead, but yet at the same time, it feels like every dungeon you've walked into has this potential for stonewalling you. So, I don't know. It's a really tough call. You would want to say, like, I think the conservative thing to do is say, oh my god, I'm behind, I gotta start going, but yet at the same time thinking, like, you know what? There's no way they've missed everything, because it really feels like every dungeon has had something bad.
Meanwhile, we have a vanilla floater in the ice cave, easily accessible with warp. So Darkmoon's got to be happy about that, finally getting a little bit of a break going his way. But the question is, can he get out? Now, of course, he has exit available to him, so he can get out whenever he wants, but there are still chests down here that he's almost certainly going to be wanting to check.
Especially with him not having the knowledge that one loose is available in Earth. He's hunting all 3 at this point. There's no way he can be orphaning chests.
Yeah. Now, with 3 loose, there is a very, very good chance that at least 1 is required. In this seed, we know it, but there are 3 dummy items, one of which we've already found. So there could be, you know, the 2 remaining loose could lead to the Thor hammer and the opal bracelet. But at this point,
you can't gamble that
Yeah.
at this point.
It is Casino Week.
This
Or
is a
Casino Tournament.
Yeah,
And this is Chaos Casino, so even better. But yeah.
That is the ultimate put my entire mortgage on 00 50 to 1. Come on.
Okay, Aligerbrap going deeper, finding a red D. That's some good experience, although not as free as those Medusas were. And a little scary, he hasn't saved. Or, sorry, hasn't healed since walking on all those lava tiles. And now deciding, you know what, I think I should do a little bit of healing. Trying to Bane Sword Dragon-type enemies, not going to have a great time. And doesn't have that Massa, so yeah, going to be relying on Fire 2. But Fire 2 will get the job done. The White Mage trying to propose to the dragon. Here, have a gold ring.
Aw, he's just being sweet.
And we find another nice caster item there. So we now have the black shirt and the Zeus gauntlet in on the Agama floor. So, you know, definitely a little bit faster if you put those in. Yeah, there we go. He's moving them into the nice quick slot there. But that will help a little bit, conserve those charges.
Getting any sort of AoE for free at this point is huge when you don't have, you know, you're going to be looking at a lot more chip damage without having the big spells to be able to one-round everything.
Oh boy, and Ice Cave just giving out the goods. We have a loose ruby in Ice Cave. So, interestingly enough... Oh, well, okay, hold on a second. Race have Glare as well. This Nothing is Kind. And Poison Touch, and Cremate.
Loose
oh my
tail
goodness.
on Ali's side. So we now know where all 3 loose are.
Darkmoon takes another wipe in Ice Cave after checking almost the last chest.
On the last step he needed to take.
Oh my goodness. This is a frustrating seed. And he's going in on the exact same power. It's like, So he's going to be running into those on almost the exact same step, unless he changes his routing.
Well, he might skip those bottom 6 chests on that floor there, which will save him steps, so he'll be able to avoid that final encounter.
Yeah, hopefully he makes that adjustment here.
So we now know where all 3 loose items are.
ETAP asking in chat, he might just be gunning for floater. I definitely doubt that. That ruby is, although it only opens up 1 additional check with the floater, I think you have to go for that loose ruby that you know is here. You are missing so many key items. You don't have the Oxyale, or the Chime, or the key. I think there's too high of a chance, and I don't think you want to come back here later.
No, I agree. You know it's here. You gotta get it. Save the steps. He doesn't have to check the other chests. There was nothing fantastic in the area that was guarded typically by the white Ds or by the Frostwolf chests. Just ignore them. Beeline it to that final room. Check those 3 chests, and then you can exit out.
Yeah. So Aligerbrap on the final floor of the fire of the volcano. Yeah, Valerian, it is a sick warp strat. Of course, warp not available until promotion, and not being available there because you cannot promote until you get the floater, so there is no way to do that in the vanilla. But randomizers get to do tons of fun stuff, like do that and cheat through the ordeals maze. So it's always great when you can cheat just a little bit. Cheat legally.
Yeah. Fortunately, cheating in the ordeals maze in vanilla isn't required. But here, when you randomize every pillar, it's very important.
Yes. The Nintendo Power did get one thing right. Although it didn't tell you to land in the right place to get to ordeals, but that's beside the point.
Wait, where did it tell you to land, then?
On the northern peninsula, and then walk all the ways around in big U shape. Versus landing across the desert saves you a decent number of steps. Aligerbrap on carry. Using the wizard staff. So carry is weak to status, so that does have a reasonable chance to hit and confuse, but not landing there. 4 hits. Also Quake strats. Quake does have a chance to hit carry. I don't have the exact numbers, but I know it's not terribly high, but it's not the worst thing either. Dark Moon, meanwhile, about to get back to that ruby. Using Cure 4 on that white mage who is poisoned. Cure 4 will heal the poison as well. Playing fairly slow, but without any major sweepers, carry will be hard. So relying on that Massa.
Carry's got a little beef.
Dark Moon needs to take one more step, and he made it, and he will finally get to exit out with that ruby. With that, Dark Moon does successfully complete another mini dungeon.
It feels like at this point, any completion of anything is a major success with some of the scripts we've been seeing.
Oh, so carry coming out with Blaze, very fitting. The second fighter not doing much, but that Massa Wielder will get it done slowly, but everyone on super low HP. Aligerbrap holding his breath. Goes with, I believe, Cure 4. Okay, that hit the Massa Wielder, but that Massa Wielder getting healed back up. 4 hits, 242. This fight will end soon if he can stay alive. Carry, vanilla 600 HP, can roll just over, oh, don't do Twitch math again, but over 1200 in a worst case scenario. So
yeah, right around 1450-ish.
Everyone healing up, trying to keep that top fighter alive. Cure 3 going out now as they're out of Cure 4. 4 hits. This carry definitely a little bit beefy. He's pumped a fair amount of damage into it. Aligerbrap continues to hold his breath, continuing to cure, keep that top fighter alive. I think this hit, still not doing it. 4 hits, 209. Cure 3 going out again. These fighters trying their best to defeat carry, but she has fairly high absorb as that top fighter's had to power bonk a number of times with a Massa. The second fighter's really just fishing for crits. Luckily, lots of restorative magic available, and with that, 4 hits, 400 damage, and carry goes down. Aligerbrap lights his second orb and builds up a 2-orb lead on Dark Moon at the 1 hour 11 minute mark. For those of you who are a little bit newer, know that orb lighting is not the only progress meter. So 2 orbs does not mean, massively ahead.
No, because while all that was going on, one of the biggest things in terms of progress and being able to speed through the game, Darkmoon is in the air.
Unfortunately, that bottle turning into just the Opal Cheerio, so the Opal bracelet, while it looks like a bracelet, actually somehow protects your whole body. So it does count as armor, and it has the same amount of protection as... It has 42 absorb. So some of the top tier late game armor, and really can help the survivability of your life casters. Or your knights in a pinch, if you can't find flame or ice or anything like that.
We do know that dragon armor is available to them in the 2 chests in dwarfs. So whenever someone eventually go there to turn in adamant, TNT, whatever it be, they'll be able to pick that up.
And the floater is officially required, as the slab, which was translated in Melmond close to 40 minutes ago, did turn into the Oxyale, which is a required item to beat the game, as you need it to get into the Sea Shrine. Aligerbrap, walking it out, use warp.
Just exit.
It's funny, that bend right there, they have hit toxic slimes every single time, because they go in on the exact same power cycle every single time.
They power cycle, they burn that first encounter, which is like that 2 steps before they get in the fight, and then they come in here. Yep.
Darkmoon trying to exorcise some demons. Going back into Volcano. If he digs deep enough, he will find that loose tail. And I would fully expect this to be a full clear Volcano dive here from Darkmoon. Or not.
He's gonna leave. I think he got in, took 2 steps, had some horrendous PTSD, and left.
Also, he could be realizing that for the Swiss tournament, each key item you get gives you 5% bonus experience, and he knows he still needs that key for Go mode, so he's still going to be looking for items. He also needs to know how many more chests he needs to open up, because if we know, of course, that the chime isn't Earth, so he will need to find another loose, but if, for example, Sarda had the key, and the Titan's Trove, which is the Ruby turn-in, had the chime, he could have just been in Go mode and not had to open any more chests up. So
very true. Anytime you can ignore opening chests, not necessarily ignore, but be a lot more choosy with how you want to do it, save a lot of time.
So while our runners are kind of just, well, one's banging their head against Volcano and the other clearing some checks here. Let's look at our late game here, our Topher dive ability. So we know that promotion will be available if Darkmoon checks chests in Volcano, which I would definitely expect him to be doing here. Okay, he's going to go turn in the herb. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so Darkmoon, the tail will be available. We have the Massa, so we should have promotion. We have good dragon armor, but right now, critically, what I'm seeing is we have 0 ribbons, no defense, and no fast.
Yeah, the ribbon was the first thing. If you were going to say, what do you think we really need to be looking for? Ribbon is, well, with the key, that puts us in chat in no mode, knowing that all that Darkmoon is missing is that loose chime in Earth.
Aligerbrap, meanwhile, making the play that is going to be needed here. Now, of course, this is an extremely, I think, almost forced play. The only other choices he had were Sky, so I guess Sky is a totally valid option as well, or to go to Marsh, as he has checked everywhere else that is available to him. But he will be rewarded with both a loose ruby and a loose floater. Now, something that could...
I was just going to say, what about the chance, though, that he pulls out his floater and says, you know what, I got what I'm looking for, I'm out.
Yes. Because that ruby turned into the herb, which turned into the key.
That's right. That loose ruby is definitely 100% required.
Yeah, so 2 of our 3 loose items required for the seed. As the tail, promotion is nice to have, but not strictly mandatory to beat the game.
That means we have an obnoxious fetch quest of like crystal to TNT to Thor's hammer.
Adamant to TNT to Crystal to Thor's hammer.
Ah, yes, of course.
But Darkmoon's making the perfectly logical play here. Aligerbrap may not complete this chain because he knows exactly what's behind it, but Darkmoon hoping and praying right now that this is a chime so he does not need to go dig out another loose. Unfortunately, he will be disappointed when he gets that Thor hammer. Aligerbrap not exiting out after finding that floater, so he is committed to finishing this. A very reasonable play, but there was a high risk with 2 loose already found that he exited. But I think missing 2 key items at this point, it's a bit scary, so he's going to make sure he full clears ice and doesn't have to come back down here.
Yeah, but the other thing being, though, he did have access to getting 2 key items in that bottle and slab, that now that he knows he has floater, that was the one reason where I thought maybe, just maybe, he goes, do I want to go chase these down right now?
So Darkmoon basically has his almost perfect late game setup here for swords. Just finding that Vorpal there. He's got someone to swing the Excal, someone to swing the Massa, and someone to swing the Vorpal. So if he does find that loose tail, he will be in a very good sword position. The only key sword he's missing, defense, which isn't really needed to be swung, just so that he can cast Ruse.
Unfortunately, at this point, does Darkmoon have that Massa because he wiped out of Earth, correct?
Yes, he does not have the Massa, but he will be going back there.
He knows he has the knowledge of where it is.
Yeah, and he's 100% going to be checking that chest, as he's going to have to go down there anyways, and, you know, I think 3 steps is probably worth a Massa Moon.
I'm pretty sure he got to that. Did he get to that chest before? I think he did, and wiped after it.
Yeah, that's correct. Darkmoon entering Volcano on a power cycle once again for probably the 5th or 6th time here. However, this time he's going straight down, so he will be on a different, different encounter table on these various floors.
At least this way he shouldn't run into toxic mucks in about 15 steps.
Yeah. Darkmoon has perfect knowledge, just the knowledge is not perfect. He knows that 2 of the 3 loose are required, but he has no idea where those are. So he knows what he needs to know, he just doesn't know what he needs to know.
Doesn't know where he needs to know, I guess is the best way to say it yet.
Yes. Aligerbrap, though, about to join him in the air, and Aligerbrap, once again, at this point, the knowledge is a little bit tilted in his favor, as he knows where those loose items are, and Darkmoon could... he cannot make the Sky play, as he will not have the chime until he goes to Earth, but he could make the Sea play before going to Earth, which would be a very, I would say, common play.
Man, I don't know, but the knowledge of him knowing Massa is there, I know personally, I would be interested in that, because that's going to make dealing with anything in Sea so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to see where Darkmoon goes next, but Aligerbrap, on the other hand, as soon as he turns in this floater, ruby, bottle, slab kind of combo, he's going to be in go mode with 2 orbs already lit, so Aligerbrap in a pretty good position here.
Level 16, though, so he's definitely going to need... and without ribbons. I wonder if at that point he decides to do walking grind, clearing out Mirage, and then say 1st and 3rd Sky to pick up a bunch of levels.
Yeah, we also still have not seen the Cardia Isles, nor have we seen a number of the key checks. We've seen Elfland and
Dwarfs and Corneria.
Armory. Yeah, but we have not seen the Northwest Castle or the Temple of Fiends.
Well, Darkmoon attempted Northwest Castle very, very early on, just without his key.
Yes. No, go back, yes, get that Pro Cape. The Pro Cape, for those of you who are not aware, is indeed a shield, although it may not look it, so mages doing all sorts of funny stuff with their armor. They wear bracelets that have some type of aura around them. They have capes, which supposedly acts as a shield. They wear rings, which are gauntlets, so, you know, they basically look like they're wearing nothing, but turn out to have a decent chunk of Absorb.
Basically, the way I see it is they put that on their back, and every time something runs at them, they just turtle. That's how the Absorb works in my mind.
Absolutely. So Aligerbrap getting that key from the elf prince. Yeah, gonna check these chests. Still slightly faster to warp and walk back in, but you know, these are extremely minor. And Darkmoon finding that loose tail. He knew that he needed 2 of the 3 loose. He's found 2 of them, but unfortunately still looking for the third loose, which we know is a loose chime in Earth for his go mode. Aligerbrap, meanwhile, looks like he's going to be going to... Okay, Cardia Isles first. So checking out going to Cardia to promote. We'll probably be checking a number of chests here as well, if he still feels not ready for Tower of Fiends Revisited, Temple of Fiends Revisited, as well as needs to check... I believe it... Was it the slab or the bottle to the Oxyale?
Was the slab that led to Oxyale. Bottle was the Opal Cheerio.
Right. So yeah. So still needs to do those other 2 floater lock checks, or depending on if he gets lucky, which there's almost a 0% chance that he checks Lefane before he checks Gaia. But
oh yeah, he's definitely going to Gaia first.
But you know, he'll turn those in briefly.
Yeah, after he clears out Cardia here, that'll be the next place I suspect he's going.
Ice armor. So a good secondary armor for the person who will not be wearing the dragon armor. Now, I believe he knows the dragon armor is in Dwarves, but he saved and quit out and has not gone back, so...
Again, probably when he's going to be going there momentarily, because he's got that Adamant, which will go to TNT, which will go to Crystal. When he goes to do that, and also check the key locks there, I'm sure he'll remember to pick that up.
Yeah.
And he'll have Opal and Dragon, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I think the only way he doesn't do that is if he gets go mode, he might just end up skipping it, because he'll know that last item is the hammer. Darkmoon about to take on Carry. So Darkmoon, this Carry was tanky. And
yeah,
Darkmoon
lots of HP.
Darkmoon does not have a, you know, non-elemental AoE. Darkmoon does not have a Massa. Darkmoon does not have a ton of levels, so this is not an easy fight. A power-bonked Excal should get the job done, but this is a little bit scary. Carry starts out swinging. Not huge, but doing some
power
damage.
bonk Excal would be nice, but we haven't promoted yet, so that's not swingable.
Oh, right. He just has it in his inventory. He's swinging almost nothing at this point. Going full defense strats, though. Invis 2 stacks coming out. 6 Invis 2 stacks will give them max evade, so getting there pretty quick with 2 Invis 2 casters. Wall coming out as well. This is a smart play. With no ribbons, Wall is a virtual ribbon, and will protect him from all elemental magic, as well as things like insta-death spells. Get him there.
Ice Sword can do some damage. It's been bonked a few times, so it should be okay.
Carry, those defense strats paying off. We did see, I believe, a Blaze from Carry, but with this amount of HP plus that wall, his primary swinger should have no difficulties absorbing that. Yeah, there we go. And he's just going full offense, not even bothering to take some time to heal. He just wants to swing for the fences. Going out.
I don't think he can at this point. I think he's burned all his charges.
No heal strats out of desperation. Just press A and pray.
That's it. Don't even worry about throwing potions.
So Carry has damage poison as well. So Blaze and damage poison, not on a super skill heavy script at least, but he gets out with 2 people remaining. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap did find Fast at level 7, so not the worst thing you can find. Not quite sure what he was looking there in the white magic. I don't think there's anything major left that we're missing.
No, we've seen Fade at 6 life, 2 life. What a Invis 2
Pure
wall.
4.
Yeah. Yeah, what the heck else would you want? White. Lamp. It's lamp. The correct answer is lamp.
So Darkmoon probably breathing a sigh of relief as he gets out of that volcano. He has gotten rid of his demons, gotten a tail for his trouble, and about to figure out what he wants to do next.
I'm genuinely surprised he didn't take his airship and slam it into that volcano a few times.
Yeah, that volcano has not been kind to either of our runners, but Darkmoon especially, after grinding those Medusas numerous times to die on the exact same step. Well, actually, he always got through the mucks with one person remaining and then died to the next encounter.
The Wiz Ogre Hyena pack that stun touched him.
Yeah, so Darkmoon about to make the Cardia checks. And promote, almost certainly. But nothing in Cardia really of note. So we still
Sky must be holding all the ribbons.
Yeah, we either have like 3 ribbons in Key Lock Marsh, or Sky has a bunch of ribbons for us.
Mermaids, maybe.
Yeah, all places that no one wants to check.
Yeah.
For our runner's sake, we're hoping that it's like Sharknado or something like that, like the free checks. For our viewers' sakes, perhaps we are hoping for something like TFC having a ribbon, Key Lock Marsh having a ribbon, and maybe we'll be nice and like throw one in like Spider Room and Sky.
Yeah, Spider Room's another one that no one really wants to check either, though. Although, again, an Ali's side being only level 16 or so, I wonder, he's going to have to do something to be getting levels. And if I love the play of if you're walking and you're going to be checking chests because you're still looking for something, in this case, particularly ribbons, that second floor is a great grind floor. There's lots of eyes usually and other good XP fights.
Yeah, Eyes, of course, falling into that category of enemies before that. If you played the vanilla game and you're new to the Final Fantasy Randomizer, think about all the people who you hate casting spells on you and then fight them every single time. Because they just reach out, touch you, do nothing. They don't cast, they have no HP. So spellcasters in the vanilla game, pretty scary. Spellcasters in the Randomizer, almost always less scary.
Except for every now and then you find something like, you know, that eye magically gets that one cast of nuke or something.
Yeah, but even in that case,
Yeah,
I
like,
still rather have the eye have it with, you know, its minimal HP, minimal resistance, or minimal absorb, than something, you know, that comes in big groups.
Like airs. Oh, I loved watching. I've seen a few nuclear air seeds. They're fantastic.
Oh yeah, airs or earths or waters. Ugh. Yeah, so Aligerbrap going to be picking up life on his knights. Darkmoon going to continue to be disappointed by the Cardia Isles just being a treasure hoard. I mean, what do you expect? This is where a bunch of dragons lived. All you're going to find is gold, including a max gold chest.
I was going to say, there is quite literally a max gold chest here, too.
That
a white shirt, though.
A nice pickup. I mean, you already have, I think, 4 Invis 2 casters.
Yes, you would have 4 Invis 2 casters, but if you didn't want to burn the charge, I mean, there's one for free.
And we did see that coming into play with him completely running out of restorative magic in that carry fight.
Yeah, I mean, so if you didn't want to, you know, you don't want to burn any of the charges, not a horrible thing to have. You're never going to say no to free Invis 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And the white shirt, of course, being the second best armor for the white mage. I think technically it's -2 evade, so it's slightly worse than a gold bracelet, but because it has the cast, I would say it's better than that. And just having a little bit less absorb than the opal bracelet.
And also, of note, those Invis 2s do share charges of life. So, you know, even if you're putting that on, you don't want to be using your knight's charges of those necessarily, because you want to save every one of those life charges on your knights. So could potentially be something they do, is throw out that white shirt as opposed to using it.
You know, putting that white shirt instead of like the head slot or something like that could be very worthwhile if they only have 1 ribbon for one of their 2 knights. Darkmoon,
yeah, exactly.
Making the play to go to C. This, of course, is not going to pay out for him, but is a logical high chest density location, which also will allow him to light a crystal. An orb.
A thingy. One of the things we need to beat the game.
Yeah, it's not important. Aligerbrap, equip the power bonk. Yes, it does more than just provide armor, but it's free.
He's gonna keep the pro ring instead, though. Ooh, Aegis shield as well.
Yeah, Aelmark, I'm pointing out that if we find ribbons in C, at least you'll find something. Aligerbrap, I think, is very unlikely to, like, just, you know, blind clear with 0 ribbons. Although, with the number of life casters they have, the no ribbon play is only extremely scary for Chaos. That being said, you know, one bad fight could really just, you know, one bad insta-death caster could really get this party right now. And they don't really have the levels to resist naturally either. So not pretty scary time still for these runners.
We are going to have the pseudo ribbon on the one night here between the pro Aegis and Dragon armor. So
yeah,
a lot of resistances available, but nothing for Earth magic, so Crack's going to be a problem. Nothing for time magic, so Zap would be a problem.
Yeah, provides 5 of the 8 resistances. The Knight pseudo ribbon.
It's the best thing we got.
Yeah, so Darkmoon full clearing left side C. I think an important decision here is whether or not mermaids right after. Once again, it would be a completely logical play. Unfortunately, it's not going to pay off. As you said earlier, though, one big benefit for him right now is that it is the chime in particular, that's locked behind that loose right now. So he will not have to full clear sky.
Yeah, that will be a good thing. That he wouldn't have to worry about doing that. Because that's a lot of chests, and you know that would be the play he's making directly after this, as opposed to going back to Earth if he had access.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he had access to Sky.
Aligerbrap, about to hit his go mode once he talks to these kind Lithenians, will not get Lupa-Lupa'd as he turned in his slab earlier in the seed. Yeah, left side swamp, not much better than left side. Or no, sorry, left side swamp, awful. Right side swamp, what you gotta do. In Final Fantasy Land, left side C, fantastic, I gotta do this to beat the game. Right side C, ugh, gross. I don't want to do right side C. They have some weird fish people there.
Well, vanilla you kind of have to do right side C.
That is true.
So with that pickup of his Oxyale, Aligerbrap officially enters go mode.
So definitely not a jet seed here, but this is a little bit more par for the course for Chaos Weeks. And T-Rexes have Thunder, so not the worst thing to see Thunder on, but still kind of funny. But yeah, one thing you'll note is if you've been watching for the last few weeks, these Chaos Seeds are expected to be a little bit slower. We're expecting 10 to 15 minute on average slower clear times here across all skill brackets, as you're going to be opening up on average more chests to find the loose that you're looking for, and Darkmoon is going to be unfortunately giving us an example of that. MG Weirdo asking in chat, where was Chime? Chime was on Earth 4, I believe.
Yeah, Earth 4 in the north bank in that north room that has the 5 or 6 chests in it.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Darkmoon, he checked all of Earth 1, 2, 3 wiped. So he is clearing out C before he goes back. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap went there before finishing before doing Ice Cave, so he did not have his floater, as the floater was in ice. But because he full cleared Earth before doing even Volcano or Ice Cave, he found that loose chime, which has really just given him the knowledge advantage over Darkmoon throughout the seed. If you're just tuning in, this seed has been mean. We have had Toxic Mucks, Glare Werewolves, Lit 3 Troll, Death Touch Bulls, Fire 3 Tigers, and Thunderous T-Rexes. So maybe not so much the last one, but all these mobs in these early game dungeons just giving our runners wipe after wipe after wipe.
And Blizzard Wolves.
Oh, and Blizzard Wolves. Yes, so just add more fun to the party.
Yeah,
Darkmoon
the first couple dungeons were not fun.
Darkmoon taking on Kraken, going with defensive strats. At least 2 Invis 2 charges go out. That X-Cal doing some damage, but not a ton. This Kraken has some absorb. Power Bonk going out. Once again, he does not have fast as level 7 at Gaia. Kraken hits like a truck, even through that 2 stacks of Invis 2, and he's up to 3, now 4. So 1 turn away from max absorb. We'll see what this Kraken does. That Knight, swinging the X-Cal, going to be fighting, has got his Power Bonk up. Lit 2 doing some damage, not much. Fighter gets in, 4 hits for 32, and Kraken fasts.
Oh, that's never what you want to see.
Luckily, this Kraken gonna have some trouble getting through max evade, so relatively safe behind that pseudo shield. And with that, Kraken goes down, and Darkmoon lights his second orb at the 1 hour and 38 minute mark.
Even if, it's always scary when Kraken fasts, because if any of those roll crits, eek, that becomes a problem.
And something like 22 hits.
Yeah, that's always enjoyable when you're fighting Kraken too, and he already comes out with like 10 or 11 hits in first turn, fasts and blasts an absolutely jacked Knight for like over 1,000.
So, Darkmoon gonna make that Earth play that no, go back, don't do Marsh. No, he hovered the right. Oh man, every time I've said something, like every single time, the runner's immediately gone and done something else. He hovered it, but he's going to make the Marsh play first, so...
Well, maybe this will pay off if he gets a ribbon.
Yeah, we're hoping for 2 ribbons in defense for Darkmoon's sake here.
I'm genuinely surprised, though, that if he's that concerned about digging chests and all that, that he didn't dig mermaids.
Yeah, I thought the Earth play made sense, because Earth has the required orb. You've already checked the first 3 floors. You pick up your massa, and then you just have the last 2 banks of chests on Earth 4 to check. So I was thinking the Earth play makes sense, but I think I would have done mermaids before I went to Marsh.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you're gonna look for chests, then I'd say that makes sense. And finally, here, Sky 1 left side, we have a ribbon.
Okay, so that is a big win for Aligerbrap. Those ribbons were not all hiding from him in things like Carry 2 chests and the Vanilla Massa chest.
Oh god, that would be mean.
So that is a big weight off his shoulders. One ribbon with a not high level, but hopefully soon to be high level fighter. 1 ribboned, dragon armored, power bonked fighter can go a long way in these seeds. And yeah, Aligerbrap deciding, you know what? Not even taking the greed chest, so he thinks he is ready to go.
You know what? I don't blame him, because we've seen both runners wipe multiple times to multiple different things. I'm sure in the back of his mind, we were talking about that earlier, do you feel behind? Do you feel like you're in a good position? And all you're thinking is, what if my opponent didn't get this RNG?
Yeah, the one thing that I'm not loving right now, though, is I guess he has C to go through, and maybe he's going to go back and grind on the Medusas or something, but he does not have late game levels here. And Sky is one of the great places to get those, but he is running from absolutely everything. Like, how do you feel going to Temple of Fiends Revisited, at level, say, 20 or 21, which is what he's looking like right now?
Yeah, I don't feel good. At minimum, I want to be 24. I want to get that 5th hit on Massa. That carries so much extra weight.
Yeah, I completely agree. Also, right now, his Knights go only at 1 charge and about to be at around probably 2 if he does not do a dedicated grind before he goes into Topher, so...
And here we are, people. We are on the Bridge of Destiny, so if you want to see the Robot Overlord, now's the time. Get those plus RNGs out and check.
Bridge of Destiny doing Aligerbrap a favor by making him take some fights. Get that juicy EXP. Oh, this is my favorite fight. Red Hydra's on the bridge. Give me as many. I would take one every step. If I knew that was my Bridge of Destiny, I could just fly through Sky, take 20 R Hydra fights, get a ton of
And we
levels.
already saw that they have like 100 HP.
Oh yeah, 2600 EXP for 4 party members. Beauty. Airs, on the other hand, not what I would be fighting. I hate airs. They're evasive. Oh, okay. Not that evasive, but not even going to give the same experience as those Hydras. They do not hit hard, though. Ambushing airs, yes, that fighter has all the armor. But
still, there's been many a time that we've seen airs hit in the hundreds through a very beefed up fighter.
yeah, they don't resist zap, but not going to be super effective against them, as these endgame enemies do have fairly high magic defenses.
Finally, our white mage doing something useful and able to finally have the levels to cast Fade.
Yeah. Darkmoon, meanwhile, finding absolutely nothing in Marsh. Now, we knew that there would not be the progression he needs in here, but we were hoping at least he finds a ribbon or a defense or something that just makes the late game a little bit easier, so that if there's a really tough Topher, he has a little bit of an edge. Because right now, he's looking to be at least a Topher wipe behind Aligerbrap, but probably closer to 2.
So Ali doing final preparations, getting himself all set up. I'm going to be pulling Tia here.
Yeah, and C is a really, really fast clear when you're not checking any chests. Yeah, Silverfire pointing out in chat, with fast being level 7, gonna need a fairly high level as red mages get those charges slower. Tia goes down without really much of a problem. Aligerbrap up to level 21, still has C to go through, so probably going to be closer to 22 or 23 by the time he gets into Tower of Fiends Revisited, Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Question from Grigglypuff. What is Darkmoon missing? Darkmoon is missing the chime, and that is sitting in 4th floor Earth.
Yeah. 2 of our 3 loose were required this seed.
We just saw Ali pull off armor off of one of his fighters and his white mage, so he is going to be making a 2-man grind with that red and fighter, so interesting to see where he wants to take that grind tile.
Yeah, so Grigglypuff, Darkmoon unfortunately wiped in Earth earlier in the game, so he's seen the first 3 floors, so he only has limited chests left to check, so he's been unincentivized to go back to Earth. So he cleared Marsh, he's gonna go clear Mermaids now, so he is going to quite literally last location that chime on Earth 4.
Yeah, there were some horrible enemies in Earth. Werewolves that had glare, which was bad because we just found our first ribbon in Sky, which he obviously doesn't have access to without that. Chime. Normal wolves had blizzard. Bulls had death touch. There's just a lot of bad things in Earth.
Yeah. We had numerous wipes in Volcano due to both runners going in on the exact same power cycle, taking the exact same number of steps, and getting hit with any number of these awful mobs and dying on the way out. Darkmoon doing so after grinding Medusas for a minute or 2, or Medusas for a minute or 2.
Yeah, Darkmoon took probably 3 different wipes where he did a grind on Gurmedusas where the fire tile is in the armory, but he kept going in on a power cycle, and on the way out, he would hit a bunch of mucks. To be very careful how I said that. And the mucks had toxic, and that was always a problem. And even if he got through that, the very next encounter was Hyena Wiz Ogres, which had stun touch, so he typically would only get out with 1 character and then instantly get stun locked and not be able to walk out those levels, and he did that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, we had some toxic muckers. Aligerbrap about to go mode C, so they will be in the same dungeon, but in very, very different positions here. We'll see if we get a TFC check from Darkmoon.
I would suspect he would. See, this is why I'm surprised he didn't do this when he was already here. If he was thinking I'm going to be clearing chests and I'm not doing that, that he didn't, that he wouldn't have just done this directly after cracking. But making the play now.
Yeah, I think I can see the play, and I think it's definitely something we're going to want to ask him about if he joins us in the post game. But I could see the play for Earth, as once again, Earth is a required, and he's only got like 6 more chests to check there. But going to Marsh first, there's an almost equitable number of chests, and he had to go all the ways there and all the way back. Definitely a tough one.
Yeah, and Mermaid's holding on to one of our ribbons.
Seems fitting. You know, it looks like they're wearing something.
They got something tying their hair back.
Yeah. Nice. Darkmoon doing the warp strats. I like it. Saving those steps, although Mermaids does have no encounters. Now, getting a defense. Defense...
That's also very good.
Yeah, so finding a ribbon, finding a defense. Essentially, Mermaids held everything that we wanted Marsh to hold to give Darkmoon a little bit of an edge. If Topher ends up being really tough, but...
Yeah, Ali's not going to come here either, though. There's no way Ali's going to be clearing out Mermaid's side.
But at this point, Darkmoon's got to be hoping for an absolute powerhouse of a Topher, because he's quite a ways behind Aligerbrap at this point.
Yeah, he's 2 deep wipes back at this point, I would say.
Yeah. I think other thing of note is that Aligerbrap is going to get the levels that he needs on the critical fighter plus a life caster here. So he'll have 2 relatively high-level life casters to get him through the first part of Temple of Fiends, plus a win condition in the fighter with a Massa and a Bonk and a Ribbon, and another fighter with a Dragon Armor and basically the pseudo-Ribbon setup. So he's looking, fairly well set up for even a fairly tough Topher.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Ali decides after this that he wants to grind a little bit somewhere else as well, to maybe get a few extra levels on everybody, because he's going to be just 24, I suspect. Why running the 2-man through this? So I wonder if he'll feel comfortable at that number.
C is an underrated grind location, but definitely not as good as Sky. So interesting that he decided to start the 2-man here. He might not have been fully comfortable 2-manning through Sky with the levels he was at, versus now he feels a little bit more comfortable. So that does make sense here, but just not going to get quite the same oomph that he might have done if he did this exact same play through Sky and walking ground there a little bit more.
I wonder if now that he feels that he has that ribbon, he feels he can make that commitment to it.
Darkmoon checking TFC right there. So for those of you who may be newer, that little reverse C-shaped room is the TFC, and it is key-locked, which is exceptionally annoying if you do not have the key the first time you clear Mermaids.
Why is it key-locked? Great question. I genuinely think the dev was just like, something's gotta be.
Yeah, there's some thought that it was a copy-paste error, or they were trying to do cheat prevention on some other doors, but just one of those quirks that makes this game more fun to randomize.
Hashtag blame Nasir and D-Dale.
Yeah, so Aligerbrap consistently doing greed chests. He's looking for a second ribbon. He's looking for that defense, but he's not looking too hard. And I think that makes sense for the state he's in.
Alright, Darkmoon finally where he needs to be.
Unfortunately, he's here because he has virtually nowhere left to go.
Yeah, this is quite literally last location for him at this point.
Much better setup than the first time he was here, but if you were on Darkmoon's stream right now, I think there would be a number of words that we could not rebroadcast going on in
No.
right now.
And you can't blame him. He's made he's had a lot of things go horribly wrong for like this. God, even the level he's at, they still don't care.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. There's been some plays that he may have been able to adjust with for things like, going in on the same encounter table every single time, but other things have just been bad luck that Aligerbrap has not hit. Even just, like, Aligerbrap went through Earth at about the same level as Darkmoon. Just got out a little bit cleaner, making no real different decisions, no real different step patterns, just managed to get out, and that's been one of the most important things that's happened this race.
Not only that, but like even when you think about the clearing out of Armory and that, Aligerbrap ran into those Toxic Mucks and got like first turn runs like the majority of time.
Yeah.
That he saw.
And with no ribbons available at all, even if they had searched Marsh early, there was no ribbon there. The ribbons we've seen so far were in Sky and Sea, which were two of the last dungeons we got access to. So it's not even like they could have dove other things trying to get a ribbon to avoid that. Like, it was just levels. Like, they had to blindly grind in somewhere, which, I mean, was what Darkmoon was trying to do. So all in all, just a really tough seed.
Whoa. Darkmoon just walked past that chest.
Did he not check it the first time here?
I thought he did.
I swear he did. Oh, Darkmoon.
Oh, no.
I think at this point, this is just, this is tilt. It's, Darkmoon is a good player. He keeps notes. He knows what he's doing. So I think at this point, that is just, frustration coming up, forgetting that was the Massa right there. And there we go, at the almost 2-hour mark. Darkmoon enters Go mode, finding his final loose, finding his chime. He's got 2 dungeons left, he's halfway down Earth. He is not as far behind as he could be, as Aligerbrap had a very slow sea clear, knowing that he needed some levels. But
yeah, he took his time, made sure that he took all the fights that he could with the 2-man, but takes out Kraken, and that's all 4 orbs at the 154 mark. It all depends on how comfortable he feels with a single ribbon and level 23-24.
Yeah, with level 23-24, he's gonna hit 24 before Chaos, just off the Fiend fights. And, whatever other forced encounters he's gonna run. Yeah, he's 24 right now, so he's basically at that cutoff point. That's probably what he was looking for. I expect him to just dive in after stocking up on some heal pots.
Gonna go to Melman first, I guess, check out some magic.
Not sure. Okay, that makes sense. He did not buy Temper the first time he was here, so picking up Temper on that Red Mage.
Temper needed.
Picking up Heal 3. Yeah, okay. So yeah, just doing some last-minute cleanup. Yeah, it being in the second slot, it was promotion locked. Black Magic generally kinder than White Magic for, anything promotion locked, but still, in the later levels, can be a pain.
Yeah, unfortunately, Black Magic tended to be garbage through all the early levels.
Yeah, we at this point, Nuke is level 8 in Lefane, I think.
Yeah, could also be 8 in Gaia, because we saw the White Magic there, but we didn't see we didn't see the Black Magic.
Yeah, I remember him walking over there, so yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so, I think he was looking for a lamp at the time.
Yeah, so picks up Fade, has some non-elemental. And with that, Aligerbrap, while Darkmoon takes on his 3rd Fiend, Aligerbrap is about to...
grind some Gurmaduces.
Is about to grind some Gurmaduces. So, playing it safe. Sometimes playing it safe is what wins you a seed, sometimes playing it safe is what loses you a seed. We've seen it go both ways. This is a very, very safe grind at this point. He will get the levels he's looking for. All it's going to be is time.
Remove that Mage Stick on there. Yeah.
Yeah, Mage Stick, Ice 2, or whatever he chooses to use, but preferably Fire, will be very effective at dealing with these Gurmadusas. Yeah, okay, there we go.
Yeah, this will be a good quick grind for him. Now, this does give Darkmoon the opportunity that he's gonna blaze through this, I'm sure, without opening a chest. He's only gonna be probably one wipe behind now if he runs through this real quick and decides not to go and says, you know what, I'm gonna take my chances.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. We'll see how high Aligerbrap goes. It's very, very unlikely he's going to hit the next Massa cutoff at 35. So I expect him to just maybe high 20s and then get out of here.
And as I say, Darkmoon's not going to open up another single chest. He's clearing first floor Mirage.
Yeah, he still does only have that single ribbon. The second ribbon we know is in Sky.
Yeah, Silverfire also pointing out this could be a play to get that red mage big enough to get a couple of charges of fast, which I believe 2 charges would be 28, I think.
So, yeah. All things point to high 20s. So, probably another minute or so in here. Maybe a minute and a half. But Darkmoon, they're going to be entering Topher not that far apart. But Darkmoon is still opening chests, a single ribbon. He's not feeling comfortable, and also Darkmoon doesn't have great levels either, so he's going to be doing, I think, a bit of a walk and grind here as well.
Yeah, Darkmoon's sitting right at 24 with his 2 characters that he did a little bit of the power grind with earlier, that one fighter and the red mage. So he might be thinking the same thing, going, I gotta get this beefed up a bit. I'm gonna check right side. We haven't seen these ones yet.
Markin pointing out that it might be that with both runners approaching the 2-hour mark, both runners are thinking the other runner has gone into Topher already.
Znobian pointing out that with Xcal at 24, that's not nearly as good as Massa with 24, though, either.
That's true, yeah. Aligerbrap has the sword power hour, Vorpal, Xcal, Massa. Darkmoon, meanwhile, just has the Xcal. Has he picked up the Vorpal?
Yeah, he's got the Vorpal on his red mage, I believe. Oh, no, that second fighter was swinging the Vorpal.
So he's got Xcal, Vorpal, Ice.
Yeah, he's rocking Xcal, Vorpal, Ice Sword. And poor Darkmoon cleared out the right side of floor 1, chose that one. Unfortunately, the ribbon was on the left.
Dodge the ribbon? That's not exactly what you're looking to dodge.
No, unfortunate.
This seed just has not had the breaks for Darkmoon, but the breaks might just be a tough Topher. Though Aligerbrap, very well prepared. I think, 1 ribbon, 1 defense short of, where you'd be feeling extremely comfortable, but you have 4 life casters.
Yeah, the 4 life.
2 casters.
Yeah, you can build up your defenses really good, and as long as somebody makes it out, you're fine. Second max gold chest, so, if Darkmoon wants to buy the world, I guess he can now.
Markin has blessed this seed by rolling it with 2 max gold chests. Unfortunately, he also rolled a bunch of garbage into it. If you are just tuning in, story of the seed, Chime and Earth, and trash mobs have every known skill and spell imaginable to wipe you early and often.
Yeah, banging our head in both Earth and Volcano for a long time.
Yeah, we've had wipes in Earth, Volcano, Ice, Overworld. So while Aligerbrap gets through the beginning of Temple of Fiends Revisited, Darkmoon about to enter. I think he just entered, or just about to enter the Bridge of Destiny if he's not already on his first encounter there.
No, he's on the maze floor right behind it. So now's your time, people. Get your blessed RNGs. We want one more chance at a robot chicken.
I don't think this Medusa Mancat encounter is on the bridge actually. So
no, he's either on the maze floor, or he's literally like 1 step from getting there. Oh no, he's on the maze floor.
So these Chimeras a little bit skill happy here. Zaps down to the non-ribbon wearers, but luckily, once again, many life casters. Gonna pay off here. No real need to ration charges.
No, there's like I think I saw 11 charges of life 2. Never mind how many charges of life 1 they would have.
Darkmoon getting some R-Hydras on the bridge. Nice juicy EXP. Aligerbrap, meanwhile, onto the Earth floor, and we're about to take a look at our first look at Lich 2. Yeah, I think the same thing, Ale Markin. I think that Darkmoon is on the exact same encounter table as Aligerbrap was.
Darkmoon took a few extra steps because he did clear out a couple of the extra ones on Sky 3. He went over to the bank of chests on the right, and then warped back.
Yeah. Regardless, I think on the bridge, at least, they might not be step for step, but they're in the same part.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Aligerbrap onto Lich 2, getting stunned. 3 members of his team get stunned, everyone but that ribbon carrier, and that ribbon carrier not going to do much. One knight does stand back up, and I believe that is the Massa Wielder, so he should be just fine. This Lich not doing much else, but that's not exactly what you're looking for. You almost always want Lich to have, you know, blank, blank, nuclear, nuclear, so that way you never have to worry about that, but not going to get that information.
Well, here we've got Darkmoon pulling TL1, which didn't have much. So it should be an easy fight for him.
Yeah, Aligerbrap getting a hero run through the fire floor and taking on Carry 2. Carry 2, pretty scary. Punches hard, but not going to do much to these pretty beefy fighters.
Stun touch, that's more of an inconvenience than anything.
And not a ton of absorb. That red mage getting through for 65 damage, so...
With Vorpal.
There's
Vorpal things. Whoa, there's that stun knight gets put down with no evade to help out being stunned.
Massa doing some work though, 3 hits, 261, a slightly evasive carry. Taking that stack, I don't think, taking a step there before reviving that knight. Taking some risk. Darkmoon, meanwhile, lights his 4th orb. So yeah, we are a half Topher behind at this point. Though Darkmoon, some levels behind, as well as has not done his final preparations, like picking up Temper.
Yeah, we're a Tia wipe behind, I would say, at this point.
Yeah. Aligerbrap taking some fights. Is he keeping the fighter down so he can get a few last-minute levels?
That would be the only thing I could think that he's doing. And Darkmoon's gonna go back, and he's gonna get some levels on his characters as well on this Gurmedusa tile.
Looks like it's going to be a solo fighter grind.
Well, if he wants to, he can just walk around, and I'm sure those mucks will be happy to give him Toxic to get rid of his 3 characters.
Yeah, unfortunately, they have a bit more magic defense now, so all he has to do is walk into the armory, then walk back around the hairpin, and he'll get those Toxic mucks.
Now, with Ali getting that great hero run on the previous floor, we know that means that a little bit of the boggier part of the encounter table is hitting him here on the water floor.
These waters are fairly low HP.
I saw 170. Nice. Yeah, 170 took one out.
Yeah, so not the worst thing to grind, but one thing I hate about grinding in Temple of Fiends Revisited is that if you get that wipe, you either have to do the grind the second time, or you don't do it and then you keep lower levels. So, you know, grinding here is always a little bit risky. Aligerbrap narrowly dodging that exit boss. And we're about to get to Kraken. So Aligerbrap making his final preparations, going into Kraken with 3-man and his Massa Wielder at the top slot. So taking a little bit of a risk here. But going speed and power. 5 hits, 523, big, but Kraken punches back. Fade going out. Fade gets in at 111, and with that, Kraken is down, so just below his vanilla HP.
Thank goodness there wasn't a second turn. Because that Kraken was, he had some punch to him.
I do not like going in there without bringing that other fighter up, even if he's just there for a meat shield.
Yeah, if his job is just to take a punch, that's worth it.
Yeah. Space Drake pointing out those Gurmadeuses, but those Gurmadeuses are doing what they're intended. They actually don't have a ton of damage, they just hit a bunch of times, but against a heavily armed fighter, they will do essentially Vorpal damage. 1 damage per hit.
Darkmoon really saved himself there because he started this whole grind and did everything and then realized because the off step is going to be coming, he did not have that ribbon on his fighter.
Oh no. Whew. Nice save there then. Aligerbrap preparing to take on Tia 2. 1100 base HP. Will we see a tanky or will it be paper? Starts out, fight. Speed and power strats. Or power bonks once. He has his Massa Wielder in the second slot. Going with beefing up that one fighter. So not fade strats, but still something that's going fairly aggressive. Pulls out the wall. And Tia punches hard. No evasion here.
What's up?
Gotta start going faster. He doesn't have really enough time to get a ton of evasions. Viz 2 half as fast as defense. Tiamat coming back with Thunder. Thunder scary in the early game, but not too bad now. Keeping his party fairly high HP, and that second fighter still well above nuclear or nuke range. Another temper goes off. This fighter's swinging hard. First fighter not doing so much. Xcal not so great, but that Massa Wielder 9 hits. Over 1,000 damage. Tia goes down. Takes some risky steps, but most likely not going to be punished for it here.
I'll never say that. That Whiz Vampire pack can do some serious damage.
Yeah, I think we've already seen the Bulls had Death Touch, so...
Yeah, but they hit hard enough as is, though. If you get a full screen of them, they can whittle you down.
Yeah. But Aligerbrap now realizing, okay, you know what? I think I life to my White Mage. Heals up. A few more steps to go before he gets onto the encounterless Kraken floor, or Chaos floor. Decides he's had enough of that, and he is on the Chaos floor. We'll see what the final preparations are. He has 1 ribbon, 1 power bonk, 1 Massa. Will we see them on the same fighter?
I would think he's going to load them up.
Absolutely. We'll see if he rearranges as well. That White Mage not doing a ton, has a few charges of Fade left, and some Invis 2 casts, but yeah, so Aligerbrap trying to figure out what to do. Yeah, so Ribbon, Power Bonk on that Massa Wielder in the second slot. Okay, yeah, there we go. So Wall getting cast on someone who doesn't already have a Ribbon. Power Bonk. Uses that charge of fast that he works so hard to get. Walls, so basically walls all around. So 3 of his party members will have virtual, assuming he gets them both off. There we go. So 3 ribbons. Essentially now, poison comes out, not the scariest thing. Damage poison in particular.
That's why we get those walls out.
Yeah, so gonna do a test swing here. Pulls out the temper. Final cast the wall. Quad X, not gonna do much against this party. And 10 hits, not an evasive chaos at all. A little bit of absorb, but nothing to write home about, is that it was 1 power, 1 cast the temper. So he is going to be doing some damage, unless Chaos starts throwing out some big skills and spells pretty soon. Fire 3 is not one of them.
No,
this Chaos is not going to be long for the world.
No, this is not going to be going on too long. Chaos is going to have to pull out the big guns if he wants any hope of taking him down.
And Chaos
Never mind.
is paper, less than his vanilla HP. Goes down. Aligerbrap getting into the last chance qualifiers with a final time of 2 hours 11 minutes. We'll get the official SRL time here shortly.
Official SRL time, 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 33 seconds. And Dark Moon has officially forfeit from the race.
Yeah, that was definitely a tough race for Dark Moon. So many things just did not roll his way. Honestly, just, tough wipes were just the story of the seed for Dark Moon here, and hopefully he'll join us so we can get his thoughts. Meanwhile, Aligerbrap just in the waiting room here, so we will be hearing from him shortly.
Yeah, Ali says give him a second, and Dark Moon is also game.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be interested to hear their thoughts on this seed. That was a seed. Entertaining for us viewers, lots going on, lots of critical decisions, lots of unfortunate wipes, RNG all over the place, 3 loose items. This is everything you could want in a Chaos Week seed. We are joined by Aligerbrap. GG, Ali.
Thank you.
That was a good seed, I think. There were a lot of interesting parts. I'd say there were a lot of parts where you probably wanted to bang your head off some things and say a few choice words. How do you feel?
Yeah, I felt good because once I saw where the key items were, I felt good about it because Earth B2 means that you had to go to ordeals before that. So, and also Ice Cave, I was thinking about just leaving Ice Cave, just checking the floor and getting out. But hey, it was there, because you were in normal, then you just had to find where the Oxiel was at the end.
Yeah, we were worried about you making exactly that play. Dark Moon had checked ice a little bit before you went there, and we were really worried that if you found that floater, that you would just be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to go do these fetch quest turn-ins, and leave that ruby down there, which did ultimately lead to the final key that you needed.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I knew when I saw we had warp and exit, the question was could I be able to clear a volcano and get the house that was involved in the armory? And it took me a couple of times to figure out how do I approach a volcano. And once I figure out, let's just clear volcano, kill Carrie, and after that take the house and Excalibur and all the goodies that were in the armory, felt that it was the good plan on this.
Yeah, your volcano clear, well, not without its issues, not on your part, but just a wipe here and there, was much cleaner than Dark Moon's. Those, and some to your decision making going to some other places first, but also just to some luck. Dark Moon just got absolutely annihilated by Toxic Mucks over and over again, as well as the Stun Touch party right after it.
And also the Death Touch Bulls. I'm not sure if Dark Moon saw that, but that was not fun.
Yes, so, well, maybe I'll ask you a quick question. What was your favorite? Blizzard Wolves, Toxic Mucks, Glare Werewolves, Lit 3 Trolls, Death Touch Bulls, or Fire 3 Tigers?
Yeah, bulls are weird. I really don't like bulls, honestly. Especially seeing Death Touch, because you don't have the levels, and they had at least 2 attacks from what I've seen, because I was able to survive one of those Death Touch attacks.
Yeah, definitely not a good time. It seemed like all of the early game enemies just had something dangerous, so everything that you did, you were always dealing with something dangerous. So good job sticking through it, getting that win. Let's go on to, just while we're waiting for Dark Moon to just, he's entering the Temple of Fiends Revisited right now. How are you feeling for the last chance qualifier?
Well, I've played in the previous tournament in the last chance qualifier. I just think it will be about making a big gamble, and hopefully it will pay off. It will pay, and that's pretty much what you can do, because there's not a lot you can control, and it's pretty much, and we know, if you get in, you never know what's going to happen, and that's the thing, because the bracket round it's different than the first part, so you never know what will happen at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely going to be a I think we're going to see a lot of different gamblers in that last chance qualifier, but it could just be that there's nothing in Marsh or Earth. So are you willing to share with our viewers, is there any strategies you're thinking, or are you going to misdirect them? Or are you going to keep your hand concealed for now?
Well, I don't really know. Like, it will pretty much, like, a lot of things comes down to what we have available to us. Because, like, let's say we have like a lot of fire spells early, I might be interested to go to Earth early. But like, if I don't, like, if only I've got a lot of ice spells, probably volcanoes might be the smarter play. It depends on what you.
Absolutely. So gonna play a little bit by ear, and yeah, that's a good plan. And we are also joined by Darkmoon in chat. GG's,
Hey,
man.
that was gross.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other way of putting it. That was just...
Will you ever play an Ale Markin rolled seed again?
It's not Ale's fault. It's like, it wouldn't have been so bad except for getting bounced. I don't even know how many times by those dang werewolves. What in my head I was hearing them as like glare wolves, and I was just like, ugh, stop killing me.
Yeah.
And then I was just that, and then getting all the way through ice and one tile away from where I was going to exit, and then getting glared by something else. I think you probably saw my pause as I was just staring there, looking at the screen, going, "What did I do to deserve this?" You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there were a few things that unfortunately came back to bite you. One of the things we were discussing was in Volcano, you went back and made that same Gurmadusa grind numerous
Stubbornness.
times.
Yeah, that was just stubbornness.
But not just that though. The fact that you kept going in on a power cycle. Now we know there was that big hero run there, but did you ever think like, I am done with toxic mucks. I can't, whatever, like, screw the run.
The third time I did it on the power cycle was a mistake. I'd meant to just do a soft reset, and instead I did a hard and didn't realize it until I was most of the way through it. You know, at that point, it's just like, well, okay, I'm in it now.
Yeah. Maybe third time's the charm, you'll get the run.
Exactly. I mean, I got out with the levels eventually.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah,
that was not fun.
Myself personally, what I did is like, I knew what was in there, so I just said, "No, what? I'm going to get it when I get out." I clear carry. You get I don't know if you had Massa Moon because I went to Earth before Volcano, so that made probably the play a lot easier because you had like a weapon that could kill carry.
That was
like, I just said like, what, just go down like after that, get the Excalibur and what was there.
Yeah, no, that was one of the many weapons that I picked up at one point and then lost to glare wolves. So, and then I completely forgot to grab it again when I went back through with the final dive through Lich. I'm going through right now with an Excal and a Vorpal, and I'm just, I'm gonna see how far I get.
Yeah, that was the other thing we was gonna ask, was that just a matter of this is an hour, I don't remember exactly what chest it was sitting in?
Oh no, I remembered it. I'm sure if you go look, there was probably a small pause there while I'm looking at my screen going, I don't have the Masamune, do I? Oh, okay, I totally forgot to grab that. That was me being on tilt from all the glares. I've basically been on tilt since the end of the first hour of this stupid scene. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had a little virtual tilt-o-meter going on in my head, and it kind of started from the Blizzard Wolves and just kind of grew from there.
Yep. Yeah, no, it didn't ever really stop for me. It was just, okay, everything in this seed is out to get me. Yay! And it was like, it just felt like everything. And I'm sure it was the same for Ali, too. Like, the seed did not play around at all.
Yeah. I have one more question for you, Darkmoon. Before we, while you finish this up. Why did you decide to go, you did an interesting play with C left side, then you went to Marsh. You kind of hovered Earth, and then you went Mermaids. What was your thought pattern as you went through that?
It was just tilt again. I knew, I figured if I didn't get anything in C, I was going to, I don't have the power bomb coming. Well, that's dumb. Okay. I figured if I didn't find anything in C, I was going to go do Marsh next, because I didn't want to go and deal with the Glare Wolves. And then I completely forgot about left side. Or right side after I did the left side and finished it out. So after I did March, that was just again me sitting there going, oh my god, what am I doing in this at this point? Like when Ali finished up and like finally done, I was just so happy because I got to be done with this. Like my brain has not been functioning for at least an hour and a half right now.
Yeah, Chaos Week really did the business this seed for sure.
Yes. So I'm up against a slap happy Kraken right now. Whee!
Yeah, Kraken punches pretty hard.
Didn't
We'll
seem to do
see
anything else. That was nice.
We'll see if we get the same thing that Ali saw from Kraken.
Yeah, I mean, I got lucky because I forgot to heal before Kraken. Maybe that, like, just having, like, only 3 inputs might have helped me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, actually, that was something that we pointed out on the commentary. I was a little surprised you didn't bring your downed fighter back up just to absorb a punch.
No, I made a mistake there. That was not part of the plan.
Yeah, okay.
No, there was a lot of that. That was like the end thing where I'm actually grinding for Germaduces right before going to Temple of Fiends. That was me looking at the clock going, okay, it is 2 hours and 10 minutes and Ali hasn't finished yet. That gives me no hope for this Temple of Fiends. I need an extra swing for that Vorpal I accidentally decided was going to be my endgame weapon. So...
Interestingly enough, Aligerbrap, what did you do right before you went to Temple of Fiends?
I went to grind on Germaduces mainly because I wanted to have a couple of fast charges for all my Red Wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we figured that was the grind point was that 27, 28 to get the 2 charges of fast.
Heck yeah. Which I totally didn't get, so whatever. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and Aligerbrap, if you're not watching the stream, you also dodged a nuclear carry too. So
that was pretty.
Yeah, but
thanks, Carrie.
Luckily, having 4 life casters does make the early fiends a little bit more forgiving.
Whew! Wow! Tiamat is packing heat! Smoked my, my white mage may not have anything equipped. That might be part of it. Well, figure it out.
Never
Again, I am on tilt right now, so tilt brain is all I feel.
This is gonna be a tilt-flavored chaos fight coming up.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take a pause after this, and then before I do my victory lap, and like go make sure all of my equipment is right, and that I might actually be able to do this. Because right now, woo, this is not good. Pretty sure I don't have the power bonk on my warrior. Pretty sure I don't have it's bad. It's just bad.
Aligerbrap, not narrowly, but you hovered near that exit as you were clicking your heels. That was a little bit scary for us.
Well, I do think there's the B button to cancel now, so like it's less worrying than.
Yeah, that B button is nice. Although it catches me once in a while when I'm trying to like fast warp or fast exit, and it's like, why are you asking me stuff? Just let me go.
Yeah, I think the exit boss still has seen its fair share of victims throughout the years in the tournaments, so even a little bit of defense is a welcome addition. So Dark Moon, unfortunately, this is the end of the tournament for you.
Yeah, that's okay.
How do you feel overall? Did you enjoy it? Was it a good time? Did you think you improved?
Ooh, hey, look, there's Noob. I felt like I did okay in places. Like, I think there were a number of times where I took gambles I shouldn't have taken, and times where I should have just stuck a little more to my normal routing instead of, like, getting stuck in my head, things like that. Overall, I'm happy with my performance. I'm happy I don't have to do the last chance qualifier and not make it through that. So, that's a joy, let me tell you. I'm actually quite pleased that I have to suffer through that. Seriously, get a batch of 24 people and then fail to make the first place and not continue on. Yeah, that's not my idea of a good time. So, like, in that regard, I'm perfectly fine with... Really? Perfectly fine with what happened. I'm just, it's one of those things where it's like, I would have liked to have been 4-2, so I could have done a little better, but, 2-4, it's what it is. At least now I get to help and do, like, stuff behind the scenes for the rest of the tournament, so that's nice. No worry about one of my days being taken up.
Absolutely, and we always welcome the help, and Darkmoon's been around the mic, around the tracking, so a great addition to our team here. Any advice? Anything that you're looking, anything you would say to those people who are about to get into that last chance qualifier? Are you saying Sky or Earth or Marsh, or what are your thoughts?
Don't play like me. it's one of those things where, like, you always say never marsh until suddenly marsh is the only play you can do. You always say, I'm not going to... Love of it. You always say, I'm not going to do this until it becomes the only thing that's available to you. Stuff like that. I think it's just practice a couple times, figure out a route you enjoy, figure out what you like to do with this, and, what it is that's comfortable for you with your routing through this game, and then just stick to your plan. Like, don't go off and make weird gambles because you're trying to play the other player. Don't let the seed get into your head like it does for me. Just try and play the game the way you're comfortable playing it, because that's how you're going to win. Anytime that I went off and did something weird, those were the times where I, managed to boggle myself and screw everything up, so...
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really good advice. If you're a player who does marsh, you can do marsh every time, but if it's not your style, it's going to throw you off, and, you're not going to have the right gear, you're not going to have the right mindset and all that jazz. So I think that's some great advice. So on our screen, although I'm sure it's been a little bit for you, we are about to see you take on Chaos, so...
Yep. Yeah, I'm still assembling my equipment right now and making sure everything is just right, since I, forgot to move my power bonk around earlier. Make sure the ribbon's on my guy. Make sure, no one had any equipment on. That's why they were dying left and right. That's great. Tilt brain.
Oh man, that was the victory lap to end all victory laps.
That wasn't even the small one. Yeah.
No, I almost milked it further, but I decided I needed to finish this at some point.
So while we see Darkmoon take on Chaos, after that, Ali, we will go on to last thoughts. But let's see how this Chaos fight goes. He's just doing his final preparations. Darkmoon, I will ask you to not spoil it for us, as you're probably already seeing that Chaos. And oh man, exit in first slot, Darkmoon.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mistake, but on the level it was sharing it with, it wasn't that big of a risk. I was looking at it going, okay, sure, why not, whatever. I'll just put that on there.
And you had no armor equipped for everything? Nice.
Oh yeah, no.
You literally had nothing on.
Nothing. I completely forgot. I did say I was suffering, right? Yes, you can do that. Let's start with the power bumps, and then let's put another wall up on you. So yeah, no, I completely... Well, it's the thing too, is the game's over at this point. Whatever I do at this point, if I get wiped by a fiend, I can stop. So I wasn't really... I was kind of on cruise control, and my cruise control sucks.
Okay. So Darkmoon pulls Chaos, going with the defense strats. Invis 2, Invis 2, defense, and Invis 2. So that fighter, 1 Invis 2 cast away from max evasion on turn 1, assuming he gets turn order. Chaos starts off with damage poison. Not terribly scary, but with only 1 ribbon, doing some decent damage to a number of his warriors here. Other Invis 2 casts go off, and that fighter already up to almost max evasion. Deciding and going to wall. Yep, so going to place a little bit more defensive strats, giving this Chaos the respect he deserves.
Yeah, if they stay alive a little longer, I'm happy. We'll see.
Yeah, second guessing that defense, going to power bonk. Yep, that's the right move there, as you don't need the second defense.
That'd just be overkill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, too many charges.
Walls go out, power bonk about to go out. And yeah, definitely got your walls up, as they say. Swirl comes out, non-elemental. The walls, unfortunately, not doing much.
And Chaos does things that says, who cares about your defense?
But
yep.
And heal 2, so yeah, trying to keep that party alive. And power, so 2 power bonks before a test.
Thor's Hammer, 1 hit, 1 damage. Big
Go
ups
White
by
Mage.
the White Mage.
Really bringing it home there for me.
Chaos wastes around, Ink not doing much. Power bonk, that fighter is ready to start swinging.
Should have put my Vorpal on my other fighter. Oh, okay. Or there's that.
Stay tuned for what that means.
Just keep fighting. Come on, guys.
Excal, Vorpal comes out. Excal not doing much. This Chaos does have some of, unfortunately. White Mage just kind of not doing much.
He's gonna Thor Hammer again, though. He's gonna Thor Hammer again. Don't worry, people. It's all fine.
When you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, okay?
Maybe we'll see a crit at some point, and it will go up to like 5 damage.
Hey, that was 2 for 2. Heal 3 coming out, keeping everybody topped up. Ice Sword being just as useful as a Thor Hammer. Vorpal being just as useful as a Thor Hammer. Xcal did some work.
The triple power bonked Xcal doing something.
I really want to see that Thor Hammer out damage it. And there he goes. Down goes the very low HP Chaos.
GG.
Everyone get your GGs out for Darkmoon. Come on.
Congratulations on finishing the seed. For that way that seed treated you, it slapped you around, it pushed you around, it knocked you down, it tilted you, just, armorless through Tower of Fiends, Temple of Fiends. But you did it. You finished the seed. Congratulations. So
thank you.
Let's just wrap this up right now. Aligerbrap, any final thoughts?
Yeah, thank you for commentating, Jat, Mars, Bermuda, and EL for tracking, and I don't know who was restreaming, but thank you for this, and you know what? See you next time.
Absolutely. And Darkmoon, any final parting words you would like to give this seed for the gift it has given you?
Ugh. At least I know I never have to play this particular seed again. It can go into the dustbin and no one ever has to touch it.
Absolutely.
Thanks guys for hosting.
No problem at all. My fantastic co-commentator, Ilmars, any final thoughts?
To anyone out there who's been watching this and enjoying it, it's not always like this. But feel free to join the Discord. Do it if you're interested in any of this. Follow our runners, Darkmoon and Aligerbrap. We had Ale behind the scenes tracking for us. Jet2980 doing the fantastic work that he was here, common with me. Other than that, stay tuned. We got the rest of the races coming this week. This is the big week. We see who moves on and unfortunately who won't be. So stay tuned. It's going to be one heck of a week.
Absolutely. So coming up tomorrow, we have 5 races on the docket, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Ragnarok against Min the Mage. At 6 p.m., Captain Nerd versus Sledge Calamity. At 8 p.m., we have Thunderclaw versus Groggy Dog, fighting to stay out of the play-in race. A little bit better than the last chance qualifier, but only less than half the runners, I believe, make it through. At 9 p.m., we have Cinema Bee versus Greggly Puff, fighting to get into the last chance qualifiers. And at midnight, Eastern Standard Time, we have Zenobian versus One Fine Day. Both people were in chat today. Going to be a great one. Once again, trying to avoid that play-in race. So we got lots of great Final Fantasy randomizer action coming up for you. Check us out. Tune in tomorrow. Tune in next week for the brackets, or for the last chance qualifier, and for the play-in race. For everyone here on the team, have a great night.